The Beehive Sports Podcast is powered by Swing Juice. Visit swingjuice.com. Use promo code Beehive20 for 20% off your golf and MLBPA apparel. Swing Juice, wear it, feel it, play it. Memorial Day weekend, everybody. We got a good show for you tonight. We're going to get into the birth of my child, which is going to be badass. It was really cool. I'm excited to talk about that. Local shout-outs in the opening buzz. We have a new thing we're going to try called Buzzin' and Buzzkill. We'll explain that when we get to it. It's going to be in the opening segment. Talk a little bit about the NBA Finals that are going to be starting here, the College Softball World Series, and what could be a Things That Sting story, but we're going to discuss it in the opening buzz. Jock Peterson and Tommy Pham's little fantasy football slugfest, I guess, or slapfest. I don't know, whatever you'd want to call it. Sports history. It's going to be last week, Devin's birthday edition. This week, Asher's birthday edition, May 27th. So 5 fast facts coming to you that happened on May 27th. Sketty on, we have, he's going to get into basically some shitty journalists saying things they shouldn't and reaction from players. And it's going to be good. He actually kind of vented to me about it already. So I had a preview. I don't want to spoil anything. I'll let him get into it. I mean, it may or may not be about the San Francisco 49ers, right?
May or may not.
May or may not. And the Things That Sting, no rundown tonight, but we have 5 stories. Isai Toot, jury finds him not guilty. We're going to get into that. That's a past a story that we've discussed. Dwayne Haskins' toxicology and medical report is complete. They released that. So those are 2 old stories we're going to come back to and revisit. And then we have 3 new ones. Obviously, news broke today. Jeff Gladney dies in a car crash early this morning. The current Arizona Cardinal, former Minnesota Viking first-round pick. So we'll talk about that a little bit. John Gruden lawsuit. He had a judge, Nevada judge, denies an NFL motion to dismiss the lawsuit. So we'll talk about that. And Brendan Langley and the United employee brawl that the video surfaced went viral. Last in my hive, reoccurring guest, Jonathan Bucketzke. So we talked last week a little bit about how he was hitting the transfer portal. I spoke with him. Unfortunately, I'm an idiot, and I forgot to speak to him sooner because he said he totally would have made his announcement on the show of where he's transferring to, but he already did on his Twitter page, which reminded me I needed to text him, so I did. He's coming on. He's joining us in my hive. Going to be a good one. Let's go.
Welcome to the Beehive Sports Podcast. Here are your hosts, Joe and Sketty.
The opening buzz is brought to you by Busch Light. Farmer cans now available for each case sold. Busch Light will donate $1 to Farm Rescue with John Deere matching the total. With a good donation, we need our farmers. Here he is. To the world.
It's him.
It is him. Asher Ryan Bees is making his first podcast appearance at 3 days old. So he's
little late to the game.
Well.
He's got some work to do. 3 days is a little too old.
Yeah, he's crushing bottles and diapers. Mom's doing well, healthy, baby's healthy. It's been great. I'm going to tell the story of him, but I did want to throw him out there for everybody to take a little look, take a little peek at the little man and his full head of hair. I had a lot of
I'm jealous.
Questioning where it came from. Yep, I know. I said, so he gets, I can't remember, Luego, Devin, is that what it's called? Luego? We think it's called Luego. I can't ever remember the name of it, but babies who have hair that it's like on his shoulders. He doesn't have a ton, but he has a little bit, and it's to keep them warm. Obviously, it all falls out. So my joke to the nurses is I had Luego on my head. So that was why it, just all fell out. So hopefully not the same for this little fella, but I'm going to pass him off to Mom. There's Devin. She can say hi real quick.
Hello.
Okay, so that was Asher. I wanted to get him on here, and we got some comments here. Christy Kuzminski saying, "Congratulations to the Beeses, Asher. You are adorable. You're correct." And we've been saying all weekend we might be slightly biased.
Yeah, no, he's a cute kid.
He is a cute kid. So yeah, he's cool. So we'll get into him. I'm going to talk about his story here in a minute, but a couple things we want to get to. Obviously, we gave Busch Light their recognition they so much deserve with Farm Rescue and John Deere. Maynard Woodworks, as you can see, gave them a shout out last week. I'm going to keep doing that because I think what he's doing is cool. It's a cool small business. I like wood burning stuff. Like, people get creative with that shit. So Maynard Woodworks, search him on Facebook. It's local to Warren, Northwestern Pennsylvania. I think he may be in New York, but I'm not positive. I can't remember exactly where he lives, but he's a Warren firefighter, great guy, and he makes some cool ass shit. So follow the page. Maybe he'll post something that you guys might like. Memorial Weekend, just wanted to give a shout out to that. Sketty and I'd say, are both proud supporters of the military, and we just want to take a moment for those who made the ultimate sacrifice, so we can do what we do. Every time you think about something that you're doing, it's because of that. If you really dig deep into it, I think I saw a post this weekend that was like, there's over 600. They gave the exact amount, I can't remember, but 600 and some acres at Arlington Cemetery, and that for a reason. So everybody just take a moment to remember that when you're barbecuing and everything, those who didn't make it home. So just wanted to throw that out there. But so we'll get into Asher a little bit because Sketty, I mean, you kind of know the story. I was giving people brief tidbits of what was happening via text message while we were at the hospital. St. Vincent is where he was born, up in Erie. It was chaotic for a very brief time. I credit actually a little bit of my police training and ability to, in an intense situation, just kind of take a deep breath, assess, and make sound, rash decisions. So we scheduled it. He was scheduled to be induced Friday. So we went in at 6 a.m. Everything was going good. Devin was doing her thing. The laboring began. They started giving her the stuff that speeds it up. She gets in the labor tub. We had an awesome room, huge room with a labor tub in it, her bed. I had a pull-out couch and everything. It was nice. But Asher had other plans. So when they were checking a dilation, the doctor says he's showing fingers, which I'm like, what the hell does that mean? So basically, if you're watching the video, if you're listening to this later, you're not going to be able to see what I'm doing. But imagine he had his hand on his forehead, or just covering, and it was his left hand. So he had it on his forehead, just kind of covering his face. Well, it got to the point where it was too far ahead for them to be able to, without Devin feeling anything crazy or anything like that. They sometimes can sweep the hand back so that the head comes first. His arm was too far out for them to be able to do that, on top of his head. So they weren't able to do that. Well, then, she chooses an epidural. The epidural fails, essentially, didn't work. It did slow down the amount of time per contraction, but she didn't get the numbness that she was hoping for, So yeah. It was still, the pain I could see in her eyes was it was heartbreaking, because I could tell that she was, really hurting, and myself, and we hired a doula. We were in the room doing our best to keep her calm and convince her that, it's going to end, and all that. But she, so they came back and they said, because of the hand being so far up on the face, that a C-section was the only way, that it could happen without possible injury to him coming out with his arm all weird, or obviously injury to Devin because he's making himself larger by coming out that way. Right. So the C-section happened. It was a crazy time. But that was when I mentioned the couple minutes of chaos. when they were coming in and checking about this hand thing, there was like a doctor and like 5 nurses just surrounding Devin doing this shit. And Devin's in pain because of contractions, and the nurses are kind of like, you could tell it was like a serious conversation that they're having about what are we gonna, what's the options? What options do we have? They're debating stuff. So I'm like, holy fuck, like I needed a minute. So I just stepped into the bathroom, kind of took a deep breath, went back out. In my head, it's always for this entire thing. And pro tip for when you're getting married, just agree. Do what the wife wants to do, or future wife wants to do. She likes this color, you like that color. It's just easy. So that's my like line of thinking for this birth. Whatever Devin is comfortable with or makes her most comfortable, that's what I'm cheering for. I got that. That's my thought as well. So basically she chose a spinal. It worked. They took her down there, did that, immediately came and got me. I was in the room. This is another thing that kind of blew my mind, is how fast C-sections are. Like, dude, it was like 4 minutes, maybe 5 tops. And I had I new to all this, so I don't know what the fuck's going on. So I go in and I had a plan. I had a couple stories that I was telling Devin. I was holding her hands and we had the curtain up, I couldn't see anything. And she was completely focused on me. I told the stories that I wanted to tell her, and it worked. So she was kind of like listening to me. And then all of a sudden it was baby crying, and they bring him around the curtain. We see him for about 3 seconds, and then they take him off to clean him and stuff, do all that. But no, it was wild. But then the last couple days we were there, well, till today. So, we were there all day Saturday, all day Sunday, and it was just crazy. Like, he's in our room with us the whole time, and got full head of hair, which, like I said, a lot of people, when I brought him on, you could see his hair. A lot of people were like, whoa. And I'm like, no paternity. I'm not pulling the trigger on a paternity test because I had a full head of hair also. So no, it's one thing I will add to those who will be in the future expecting or are planning on it one day, not expecting soon, but planning on it eventually. What everybody's going to tell you, because this is what everybody told me, was that it's the greatest feeling you'll ever have when you first see them and hold them and everything. So it's like you can't describe it. So that's why I understand. That's why that's all that anybody would say is it's the greatest feeling. You ask them, well, what's the feeling like? Well, I don't know. I can't really. You can't describe it. It's just something that when it happens, it's like, holy fuck, this is awesome. Like, it's just really cool. So super happy. Everybody's healthy and we're back. And we made it back in time to do a show tonight.
Which is perfect. I think listen to this story. I think that he's already got his nickname. Whether he's right-handed or left-handed, he's going to be Lefty to me for his whole life. Yeah, that's it. I'm just going to call him Lefty.
So Asher's nickname from here on out is Lefty.
Lefty. He brought it on himself. He made the decision before he came out of the womb.
Crazy other fact about this whole thing. My mom sent me my baby photo, which looks a lot like him, like full head of hair and everything. In my baby photo, my left hand is up by my face.
Is it really?
Yeah,
that's
I'll
wild.
send it to. I'll send it to you. I probably won't post it on the podcast page, but I'll send it to you. So I'll text it to you. It's crazy. So yeah, it's pretty wild. But that's pretty much the story. And now it's just I said keeping him alive. It's kind of like my joke with it. Now we got to keep him alive. It's just a joke, obviously. People don't get all out of shape about it. But I did tell Devin that, in my line of work, I do run into some people that if they can keep a baby alive, I'm fucking confident as hell in us that we're going to be able to do it. So I like it. Good stuff, though. It was a good weekend. The other thing, this was my other joke I was telling all weekend, because sitting there, obviously you have stuff to do. Like you're taking care of the baby a bunch, especially for me, because Devin had a C-section. So she's down, she's kind of she was with me in the room, but she couldn't get around all that well. So I was doing a lot of extra, which I didn't mind at all. But there was some like downtime where you didn't have anything to do. So I found that I was kind of bored eating. Like we had a bunch of snacks and shit, and they had a cafeteria I was hitting up all the time. And I just said, the joke I said all weekend to Devin is, you came to the hospital with a belly and I'm going to leave with one. Because all I did was mow down cafeteria food the whole time. I left a couple times, got us Papa John's. She wanted sushi. She couldn't have tuna during pregnancy, so she wanted some tuna sushi. Went and got her that, doing all the things. So it was good stuff. I'm happy. She's happy. Kid's happy. Dog met kid tonight. That went well. Yeah, it went well. He, it's just like a quick sniff over. And then I got a pretty cool picture too of him, like they're almost doing like a stare off because he's in this like Mamaroo thing and dog's on the floor and they're just kind of like staring at each other. It's pretty neat. But yeah, all is well. With all the good news, unfortunately, I have to shift to some bad news. I do want to say, Sketty and I, thoughts with the community of Uvalde after the horrific incident took place down there. We're going to get into the show now. I'll stop with the happy, that stuff was Asher stuff happy. Now we have to go to something, a little bit sad. So, very sad, but thoughts are with them. I hope that, some sort of resolution to everything, something that'll make everybody happy. I don't know what the answer to that is. Nobody seems to. Everybody just wants to argue about what it should be and what it shouldn't be. And I'm so fucking tired of that I don't even have the energy to watch any of it or listen to anybody's opinions. If you have them, keep them out of the comments. I'm not reading it. I don't care. I just, everybody has their thing that they have to say about it. And the bottom line is that a lot of lives were lost. And there's a few things that took place during this, the 18-year-old buying the gun, the school had a door unlocked. There's the police response. I haven't got into it yet, but I know that there's a lot of questions going about that. And again, like I said, it's just, I haven't had the energy to even read into it, but my last couple weeks I've had my own stuff going on, and that's just what I've kind of stayed focused on. And it's a tragedy, but if you can take anything from me talking about it right now, just quit fucking arguing with everybody about it. And let's just, until there's common ground met with everybody, this is the way it's going to be. It's just a nation divided.
Something's got to change. Yep. Yeah, I agree.
And
something's got. I don't know what the answer is, but I can tell you, arguing and doing nothing isn't working. There's something has to happen.
One of the things I did want to mention that one of my coworkers put this post on Facebook, and I found it to be really an intriguing thought that I hadn't put into my own mind. Again, I haven't read a lot about the police response. I just saw that it's being questioned by a lot of people. So one of the things that he said was that, 2 years ago, everybody was kind of bitching and moaning about the militarization of police and how they don't need to be doing that kind of stuff or looking like that or training as hard with firearms and all this other shit. And that, they demonized the warrior mentality that police have. And now they're demonizing guys who didn't carry that warrior mentality to a response to an absolute tragedy. So it was kind of an intriguing thought to me, because I was like, wow, yeah. I mean, if you really think about that, that's kind of exactly how it could. Well, again, I haven't looked at everything. My coworker who I'm mentioning, he does. He's very into news and that kind of stuff, and so I kind of trust his judgment on what he's saying. But it is true though. If you want absolute, like, me responding fresh mind, ready to go, like telling me I shouldn't be that way all over the media and protesting that I shouldn't be that way isn't the way to get me to do that. It's just kind of, I don't know. Again, like I said, it's just another aspect of thinking. It doesn't take away from anything, but arguing and everything just needs to quit. They need to just meet and come to conclusions that everybody agrees with.
Yeah. I mean, I think the big thing for me is a lot of the stuff these people are arguing about too, it's just surface level problems, ban the guns or arm the teachers. To me, this is a big societal problem. Where are we getting at that this, we have people that think, I'm going to go shoot up a classroom full of elementary students. Like, it's just, there are big problems in this country. That's fine to do the little stuff to try and stop this, but we all just need to look at each other and say, what the hell is going wrong here? Because there is
why would anybody have
wrong
that to begin with?
Exactly. Yep. That's where I'm at. If we have people thinking that, there's something wrong, So surface quick fix I can kind of get with, but we got a deeper problem here that really needs to be addressed. And arguing about the simple fix isn't going to do anything. We got to take a long, hard look at this thing and do better.
Agree. All right, let's move on to our regular scheduled stuff we do. We had two topics there: kid born, tragedy. So those are kind of off the cuff stuff. Things happen, we'll talk about it. I understand it's a sports show, but we are human. Local shout outs. So we have a decent sized list here I want to throw out there. First, we want to say good luck to Eden Christian Baseball Academy, cousin Jared, who I discussed last week, who's on an absolute tear on the mound and hitting. They are in the Whippeal Championship this Wednesday at 1:30. They play, I forgot to write it in my notes. I think it was Union, but I can't remember. But I do know that his father informed me that it is the alma mater of my grandpa and a few other of my relatives, like all of my grandpa's brothers. So it's pretty neat that he's actually pitching against a school that has some meaning to my family. Just wanted to give them a good luck. Whippeal Championship. Hopefully they get it done. I'm sure he'll be on the mound because he's had a considerable amount of rest now. I think they played last
Monday.
Yeah. Last Monday was their last playoff game. So they're going to be. He's on great rest, so I would assume he'll be pitching again. Give another shout out to, this is a recurring local shout out, Ty Bryan. We talked about little Ty pitching Little League. Had a previous strikeout streak of 23 in a row on the mound. It got broke. He now has a new streak going of 24.
It's pretty good.
Got to be some sort of record for Little League strikeouts. I can't imagine it's not. But next local shout out, Eisenhower Senior Cale Black, recently presented with the Paul Clough Wrestling Scholarship presented to the outstanding senior wrestler in Warren County. Paul Clough was the head wrestling coach at Youngsville and the assistant at Sheffield before his passing this year, his sudden passing this year. So Colin Clough, his son, read his announcement. I kind of wish I would have been there in person because reading it is heartfelt. So I would imagine it was a really, really good announcement that he did. But I did get the quote from this story is pulled from Your Daily Local. Quote, him and my mom had me. This is Colin Clough reading, like I said. Quote, him and my mom had me when he was only 21 years old because he wanted a son to wrestle with before he was too old and hurting, Colin said. As a coach, he was great. He told kids the wrestling season never stops and that if you're just sitting around at home, your opponent is getting better. If you had a goal you told him about, he was going to do everything in his power to make sure you got there as long as you're willing to do whatever it takes. So it's pretty neat. And interesting take from Coach Clough is that if you're sitting around at home, your opponent is getting better. Let's revert back to last week with Carter Starachi's interview where he gave up summer holidays so that he could, just be the best at his craft. So clearly Coach Clough was right. But congrats to Cale. Cale is continuing his career at Lock Haven, so he'll be doing some D1 wrestling too. Next shout out, Sheffield high jumper Emily Foster took her second trip to States in 2 years. So that's freshman, sophomore years, both making it to States in the high jump. She was the only county track athlete to make PIAAs this year. So shout out Emily Foster. Next shout out, this is probably my favorite one. No offense to everybody else who I've mentioned. Ryan Arnold.
No,
Did you? Ryan Arnold gets a
think
local shout out for his coveted achievement of making 3 outs in 1 inning. 3 outs. Sunday slow pitch softball league. Ryan Arnold made all 3 outs for his team in 1 inning. Now, with that said, fantastic inning for their team.
Yeah, absolutely. Had to be.
Yeah, that's a shitload of runs. But reports from my my Sunday slow pitch insider, they indicate that the first out was an L5, followed by an F7, and then an F8. And further reports indicate that once he got the second out, the team in the field was kind of like, let's try and get back around to him and see if we can make this happen. So great job, Arnie. You're a cornerstone snake, and if you weren't, I'd be hammering you a lot harder than I am. But since you are my flag football teammate, I have to take it easy on you. But wow, well done. Last local shout out. I posted on the Facebook page about. I just wanted to remind people: Warren Area High School Grid Club Golf Scramble. Proceeds benefit Warren football. It's Saturday, June 18th this year, June 18th, 9 a.m. Shotgun start at Blueberry Hills Golf Course. You can register via email if you send Cody Bupp an email. I'm going to spell it out for everybody here. crb5270@gmail.com. Be a great cause. Obviously, Warren football, all proceeds, like I said, go to Warren football. So if you're able to get a squad together, get a foursome together, go get yourself into the scramble. I believe it's $80 a person. Obviously, $5 skins for the team, $20 for the team, extra $5 out of your pocket. But you get the whole deal. You get the hot dog at the turn, beverages, snacks, refreshments, barbecue chicken dinner afterwards. So hop in there if you're able to. All right, that's it for local shout outs. So we're going to try into this new segment. Not new segment, but new piece, new portion. I don't even know what you fucking call it, but so basically how it's going to go is we're going to name 2 things, and it doesn't have to be sports related. It's going to be whatever's happening in the world. It could primarily sports, but there could be some other stuff. What's buzzing or what's got you buzzing? What your good buzz, and what's killing your buzz? So something that's cool that's happening. We're going to name 1 apiece. Something good that's happening, and something that's killing your buzz. So Sketty, we'll start with you. What are you buzzing on? What's a good buzz you got right now?
Well, my good buzz this week is going to be I got the go-ahead to play in Conewango member guest. I played in it one time before with Craig Bennett. That was a couple of years back anyway. I haven't participated in the tournament for a couple of years and got the okay from the old man. So me and my little brother are going to play that. So I'm pretty pumped about that.
You and Andrew?
Yep.
Yeah, sweet,
we'll see if
dude. That's good stuff.
We might be in a fight before the end of the first day, but it'll work out.
That's all right. I've heard of that happening before. Not between you two necessarily, but between a member and their guest, and some like hell breaking loose because of that. That's awesome. I love hearing that.
No,
I will be there. Kyle Gray is my partner in that. We played in it last year. We're doing it again this year. So yeah, member guest is a good time. That'll be good shit. Okay, so what's killing your buzz?
Actually, I just saw this today. What's killing my buzz is seeing that what was it, the Iowa girls, I think it was a state championship. Did you look at this yet? Okay, so I think Klossmo tagged us in it. There's a pin placement on 18 that was just the most ridiculous pin placement I've ever seen. This is a girls, again, I think it was a state tournament. It was some level of Iowa girls golf. This pin placement was just ridiculous. There were girls that were like putting up to it, hit it a couple inches short, all the way back off the front of the green. Like it was something nastier than I've ever seen at Conewango. It reminded me of one in the steeplechase a couple years ago when you just couldn't get it close. I think they said the average score today was a quadruple bogey. 8 was the average score. Or 8 or 9, whatever. That was the average score for the whole tournament. So yeah, it was just absolutely ridiculous. I can't stand that stuff. Like, come on, greenskeeper, do better. Like there's no reason for that. Like I think the one guy said he saw multiple 10 putts. One of the reporters covering it. 10 putts.
So this was dickhead groundskeeper move or what?
Yeah, it looks like this green just kind of has like the false front, kind of like one at the country club, or I believe it's 5 or 6 at Cable, the par 5 that just like falls off to nothing. Like like it'd be like that, but then putting the pin like in the middle of that green where you just have no chance. If you're below the hole, you can't putt up because it's coming back to you. If you're above the hole, you better hit it or it's going the whole way off. Like it was just wild. Highly recommend looking the video up.
So you got to either can the putt or you're fucked.
Yes, basically, yeah. If you don't hit it in the center of the hole, you're not going to be close.
Yeah, all right.
And one girl was actually funny. The first girl I saw in the video, she's probably 3 or 4 feet above the hole, hits her putt, watches it hit the lip, and immediately just is throwing her hands up, knowing that it was toast. And yeah, just all the way down.
Watch the video. I did see he tagged us in something, but I didn't get to watch it yet, so I will do that.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, that kills my buzz seeing that, because that's not bad golf. That's just
for sure
bad course setup.
All right. What I'm buzzing on is hands down the nursing staff at St. Vincent, who was absolutely amazing for the 3 days we stayed there, 3.5 days, whatever it ended up being. They were great. I mean, they loved Asher, of course. How can you not? Again, biased, but how can you not? But no, they were just fantastic. I mean, and not even just the nurses. They have security on each floor. So when I'm coming in, I had to talk to the security guard every time. This guy named DJ, he was really awesome, older dude, and I kept bringing snacks out for him because I was like, man, that's a long shift. You just sit there. I don't know what kind of relief you get, but he was there every time I went out. So I took him some snacks. I asked him if he golfed. I hooked him up with a podcast golf towel. So nice. No, he was really cool. The nurses, we had two in particular who were just wonderful, was Anna and Kelly. Kelly was in labor and delivery, and then when we shifted over to postpartum, then that's when we had Anna a couple days, and she was just great. But it was just funny because like by the end of it, like they were all like, we don't want you guys to go. And we were like, well, we had such a good time. We were thinking about booking a stay for next weekend. If nobody, if you have availability, we'll be back, because it was just cool having them, there and access to them anytime we had a question, anything like that. So that's what I'm buzzing on. My buzz kill is rest in peace, sleep. I understand fully now what that's about, because, we're feeding him every 3 hours or so. He wakes up in the middle, like he slept the whole ride home. So he's going to be up now for who the hell knows how long. But usually, though, he's like, he's kind of like getting food drunk. So as soon as he eats, he's usually like, that's curtains for him for a little while. So I just now understand that my life will consist of like consecutive naps. Like there won't be just like, it's not just like, hey, I'm going to bed. It's like, hey, he's sleeping, I'm going to try and catch a couple hours. So, but I'm cool with it. I don't sleep much as it is. So it's going to work out for me. It's just weird, but yeah. So that's my buzzkill is sleep. RIP. Nice knowing you, at least for a while, until he gets a little older, but for the time being. So, all right, we're going to move on. Just have a couple things to touch on. This stuff isn't even going to take long. NBA finals starting up, Celtics Warriors. I like the matchup, because the Warriors haven't been in it in a couple years anyways, right? Celtics are back, so it's cool. I like the and it's like coast to coast for sure. There's some serious travel.
For sure, yep.
I don't really have I don't care who wins.
I don't think I do either. Like, I don't mind Steph Curry. I like Jason Tatum. Like I'd like to see the Celtics do it, just because it seems like, they've been close for a couple years now and just could never get over the hump. So
yeah,
that'd be awesome to watch them do it. But, I also think that'd be nice to watch Steph get, I think that'd be his 4th ring. So, he'd have as many rings as LeBron then, and I'd love to see that.
I'm good with it either way. Yeah. I now that you said that, I'm kind of leaning that way. Because, fuck LeBron. But
Yep.
All right, next up. I just have one quick thing about this college softball World Series. So laid up in the old hospital room, this week, we got to, flipping through channels. Devin played college softball at Barron. So we were watching, she's like, I like watching this every once in a while. So we kept it on. It was Northwestern versus Arizona State. Northwestern punched a ticket to the World Series in this regional match. It was a regional final or whatever they call it. Arizona State was up like 5-0 in like the third or fourth inning and ended up losing 8-5. Got
rough.
Choked at the end. But why I'm mentioning this, though, all eyes in this tournament, like there's a team with a major target on their back, and that is the Oklahoma Sooners. Have you heard about this at all? What they've done this year?
I saw briefly. I don't remember, but I saw briefly.
So they've outscored their opponents this season 500-47, and have run ruled their opponent in 37 of 54 games.
Pretty good.
Holy fuck.
Pretty good.
Like, yeah. I'm kind of like interested to watch this because I want to see, it'd be cool to see them get knocked off because that's an insane run they're on right now. But yeah, so it'd be kind of neat. I don't know. I might actually chime in on this a little bit more, look to see when the games are and maybe watch a little bit. I'm off work for a while, being a dad and all. So I have some TV time. I might be able to catch some of these games. Last thing, this could probably be in the things that sting, but I just wanted to throw it in here anyways. Jock Peterson, Tommy Pham. This is one of the stupidest things I've ever even heard of in my entire life. So they're in a fantasy football league together. Jock pulls a move or something that Tommy didn't like. They're kind of jabbering in the group chat. Credit Jock Peterson in this, though, because Tommy Pham comes out and says he said some things that were disrespectful and I needed to, make it right. So leaving the door open for the media to think what?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I got you. Racist.
Racism, of course. So Jock Peterson's like, fuck that, Tommy. Here's the group text, and just shows the media the entire conversation. and basically what happened is Jock Peterson, this is when Tommy Pham played for the Padres, and Jock Peterson's like made a jab at the Padres. And Tommy was basically like, hey, me and you aren't buddy enough for you to be talking that kind of shit to me. And Jock's just kind of like, well, and he even said, like, it shows in the text, he's like, dude, it's a joke. Like, fucking calm down. And yeah, so I hate Jock Peterson. Like, I really don't like that guy, but I'm Team Jock. And he got smacked. Tommy Pham is Will Smith. Like, you're Will Smith.
Yeah.
Jock Peterson's Chris Rock. Congratulations. You look like a fucking moron. And Jock Peterson now is like going to be liked by a lot more people. Maybe even me. I don't know yet. But I just you got any other thoughts on that whole situation?
Well, didn't someone say it was something about like
Jeff Wilson?
Is that what it was?
Yeah, this is over Jeff Wilson, your boy.
Unfreaking. Well, I mean, guy's a stud, but it was like an IR spot or something, I think, is what I read. Like, who the hell was arguing about the use of the IR spot?
Right. Yeah, he put Jeff Wilson on it because he was listed out for the week, and Tommy Pham got all fucked off about it.
Yeah. Like most leagues, you can't put them in the IR spot if they're not eligible. You can't just use it. Well, man, ESPN doesn't let you put
league. Maybe in that league you can. I don't know. But it was weird.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
Yep. All right. Hey, that's it for opening buzz. We're going to get cruising. I got a kid to take care of. So we're cruising through the show because I got to go be a dad. Opening segment, the buzz, brought to you by Busch Light. Farmers cans now available. Each case you purchase, $1 gets donated to Farm Rescue, with John Deere matching that end amount, hooking up Farm Rescue. We need our farmers now more than ever. Diesel, gas prices, farmers need them. Buy Busch Light. It's good. We'll be back with This Week in Sports History.
Whenever you crack open a Busch Light, the mountain starts singing.
It's cold and it's smooth and it's waiting for you.
What is going on?
Hit it, Giant Kenny G.
It's so smooth.
Head for the mountains of Bush Light Beer.
Hi, this is Brian Hagberg, and I wanted to take a moment and tell you about our new website, yourdailylocal.com. Your Daily Local is your new home for news, sports, and events in Warren County and beyond. Our goal is to cover the people, places, events, and happenings that matter to you in a variety of ways, including writing, video, and audio. And the best part? All of our content is available for free. Head to yourdailylocal.com to get the news you need when you need it.
Let's take a look back at this week in sports history.
This week in sports history is brought to you by Your Daily Local. Visit yourdailylocal.com for the news you need when you need it. 5 Fast Facts, Asher's birthday edition, May 27th. That's where we're at. So May 27th, sports history. Let's start with number 1. 1904. I also noted this. 1904, 118 years before Asher. The New York Giants first baseman Dan McGann collects MLB.
Name.
Yeah, it is. Collects MLB record 5 stolen bases in a 3-1 win over the Brooklyn Superbas at the Polo Grounds in New York City. So the only reason I put this on here because I thought this was cool. 1904, that record it upheld until 1991 when it was broke by Otis Nixon. So that's a hell of a run. It's like about 87-year record he held. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's good.
Number 2, 1968, 54 years before Asher. George Halas retires from coaching, finishing with 318 regular season wins and 6 championships. So GSH on the Bears logo or Bears jersey. A lot of people don't know this. If you're not a Bears fan, they might not know it. But that's what that GSH stands for is George S. Halas. So he was the player coach for the Bears before eventually becoming an owner. So that's pretty cool. Number 3, 1981, 41 years before Asher. Lenny Randell tries to blow a slow roller foul, but the umpire says, no, you can't do that. So everybody's seen that clip before. Ball rolling down the third baseline, and he's blowing on it, trying to get it to – yeah. I don't understand why that shouldn't be a crime.
Nope.
1982, 40 years before Asher. New owners headed by John McCullen by NHL's Colorado Rockies and moved the team to the New Jersey Meadowlands under the new name New Jersey Devils. I always think that's kind of neat. The old hockey team was the Colorado Rockies. Once they moved, they brought the Rockies back, but in a different league, Major League Baseball. I think that's neat. So last one, 1997, 25 years before Asher. Major League revenue sharing begins, and the New York Yankees pay out the most at $28 million. That's not a jab at the Yankees. I can't do that. Everybody knows.
That's just a fact.
Just a fact that I'm putting out there. So that's it for this week in sports history. This week in sports history is brought to you by Your Daily Local. Visit Your Daily Local for the news you need when you need it. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with Sketty on.
Hey there, everyone. This is Phil with JP Photography. I know. A photography ad on a sports show? I get it. You're here for sports talk and listening to Joe and Sketty's insane rambling.
Wait, what?
But bear with me for a few. I just want to tell you that JP Photography not only offers wedding photography, but also does events, engagements, headshots, family photos, and even some product photography. Be sure to check us out on Facebook and Instagram. Just search for JP Photography or go directly to our website at johnphilphotography.com. That's JONPHIL photography.com.
He's absolute trash.
Sketty on. Let's have a listen to what Sketty is on this week.
0% chance that works.
Have at it, kid.
Okay, well, for those of you
first
who
tell everybody what you're on, because I gotta get your music ready.
Okay, well, this week we're going to cover the Grant Cohn versus Javon Kinlaw. Little beef going on in the Niners. I don't know if you'd say locker room, on field, whatever. So Grant Cohn, reporter on the 49ers, or for the 49ers, apparently has been like trashing some of the team. In particular, he said something to the effect of Javon Kinlaw has an 80-year-old knee and they shouldn't have drafted him. They should have drafted Tristan Wirfs instead. So apparently something happened at practice last week where Kinlaw confronts Cohn. Cohn later puts it up on his Twitter feed. He says, oh yeah, Kinlaw got my face, blah, blah, blah. So he's on Twitter Live or something live, and Javon Kinlaw's on with him. And Kinlaw is just like saying the most it was just horrible shit. I think he just kept saying, my balls is bigger than your balls and something else. I don't even know. Like, he was just like going in on him. And I was kind of like, well, that's probably not a good look from, your third year guy that hasn't played a lot of football because he's been hurt. But apparently, like Eric Armstead, George Kittle, even a couple other 49ers basically said that this guy is just a piece of garbage. What really set him off is Grant Cohn, after all this happens, he says something to the effect of, yeah, I wish Kinlaw would have hit me on the field because all I thought was if he hits me, I'm going to get to retire because of Javon Kinlaw. Like, so he basically saying he would sue him, take his money, and then never work again, which so that seemed to really piss the players off. Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, he was going to do the move where, I'm going to sue you because you hit me. So just all-time bitch move. But yeah, all the Niners players back Kinlaw up on this. I guess they did have a meeting in John Lynch's office where they had to shake hands, and then Cohn said that they squashed the beef, and to which Kinlaw said, we didn't squash any beef. I did that for the organization. You're still a piece of shit. So I don't know if there's any more trouble there, but just goes to show, these guys are, athletes are humans too. If you're going to report for us to sit here and talk about it, we're not official reporters. If you're going to be an official reporter in that locker room, it's probably not the best idea to be treating the athletes you're covering like garbage like that. So I just thought scumbag move, and then a scumbag thing to say that, like, because he tried to act like he was tough, and I think Kinlaw said something about that too. Like, I went over there, I guess he knocked his hat off of him or something like that. Kinlaw like kind of got in his face, and he just stood there. I watched the video. I suggest anyone out there watch it if you get a chance. Like, guy's just a scumbag. And it's just sad to see that you have reporters like this. Like, we all know that Kinlaw's hurt, and I'm on record as saying, I wanted him to draft Tristan Wirfs instead of Kinlaw at that point because, like, we needed line help. But to say he's got an 80-year-old knee and stuff like that, that's just low blows. And apparently he's been doing it to other guys on the team too. It's just like the Niners need to get this guy and say, nah, dude, your locker room access is cut off. You're out of here.
I mean, so I got a couple thoughts on this. First of all, I think there's some of it might be a little bit of like truth hurts stuff that Kinlaw might be hearing,
Oh yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay. But like you said, and this is something I learned just being, in sports media at UT Chattanooga for the short time I was there, less than a year doing my internship. There's like a known etiquette for behavior of professional sports journalists, especially ones who are beat writers, like assigned to a specific team. Like, you can't, you're what kind of info inside info or anything like that do you think you're going to get by just slinging mud and talking shit all the time on the guys who you're reporting on. I mean, unless he hates the Niners and like that's his first gig and he was just like, fuck it, like I'll take it because it's a job, but I really don't like the Niners. Maybe that's his ploy and he just wants out, but it's not a great look to get you somewhere else if that's the case, because now you look like it's like you're basically you're basically doing to yourself what the Browns did to Baker. You made yourself untradeable.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I just couldn't believe it.
Yeah, definitely some etiquette that needs to be followed. Like you said, we're just amateur little podcast show that nobody, we're not, people around the world do not care about us. They don't even know about us. So we can sit here and talk all the shit we want.
Right. Exactly.
Right? Yeah. We can
exactly.
Do that
like we're not
because we're not, we have no loyalty to any one particular team. I mean, if you hear me say something bad about the Bills, then clearly something really bad happened, because that doesn't,
right.
I don't do that. Just like you with the Niners, we're biased. It's what it is, but try to be realistic once in a while, but it doesn't really pan out all that well. But yeah, I'm with you. That guy, I mean, did he get any sort of, is there any rebuttal coming his way, or?
I didn't see anything other than, like I said, Lynch made him sit down, shaking. I don't know. I didn't look that up. It might have said in the article. I just, again, kind of caught it and was like, what the heck?
I'm kind of curious who he, I'm curious as to like, who is it, like the San Francisco newspaper or media outlet in San Francisco? Is it a league-wide publication and he's just assigned, to the Niners? Like, we gotta look into that.
I'm guessing, I'm not really sure, because to me, if Lynch is making him sit down and shake hands, like it feels like he's got to be a little bit closer to the organization.
Maybe he's with it. Maybe he's actually hired, works for San Francisco. Like Buffalo has, Chris Brown, Steve Tasker. They have their own slew of their own media people. So maybe he's like that for the Niners. I don't know. We'll look into that. I know we'll have a new Sketty on next week, but we're going to require some follow-up on this.
I'll dip into that a little bit more. But I knew it was bad at first. I kind of thought Kinlaw was going to be the bad guy in this. But then when I saw Armstead come out, Kittle comes out especially.
George Kittle, I trust his judgment.
Yeah, and especially after that guy said that, like, Kittle, I can't remember his exact quote, but he was something about, like, how are we letting this scumbag in the locker room who's trying to bait players into fighting them so he doesn't have to work anymore? Like, what kind of dirtbag is that? Like, I'm just surprised it didn't seem like the reporter was getting enough blowback from what I've read.
Agreed.
Like, if that's my organization, I'd be like, no, dude, you're done. You get out of here. Like, you can't say something like that. But
all right, you all good?
We'll look it up.
Is that everything? All right.
Yeah.
We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll get back. Like I said, just 5 stories into things that sting. Then we're going to get John Shesky in here, talk college golf, transfer portal, NIL, and Memorial Day. He's a veteran. I'd like to hear, his thoughts on that. So we'll get into all that here shortly. Quick break. Be right back.
Jones Pest Control, your hometown pest control company servicing residential and commercial properties in Warren and surrounding areas since 2015. Sean and his crew will work tirelessly to keep your home or business free of insects to rodents and everything in between. Contact Jones Pest Control at 814-230-9548 and set up an appointment today. And remember, ants, spiders, bees, or mice, don't think twice. Call Jones Pest Control, 814-230-9548.
Checkout means sales and services with 2 locations on Warren's East Side. Their garage at 800 Lexington Avenue not only services cars sold by Means, but has knowledgeable staff and modern state-of-the-art equipment waiting to serve their hometown of Warren. Whatever you need, including alignments, tires, brakes, yearly or enhanced PA inspections, oil changes, and much more. Make your appointment today at 814-723-7191, extension 2.
It's now time for the things that sting. The worst stories in sports, according to Joe.
This edition of Things That Sting, powered by Jones Pest Control. Ants, spiders, bees, or mice, don't think twice. Call Jones Pest Control at 814-230-9548. All right, so like I said, no rundown, just 5 stories. 2 of them we're actually going backwards, talking about some older cases or incidents that we had discussed in the past. First one, this one's huge too. Isai Toot. So if you guys remember, if you've been following along since, I don't remember when this it's been so long since this happened.
Long
I'm not
time.
sure. Yeah, it's been a while. But Isai Toot, the early entry into Virginia Tech football linebacker, was charged for beating death of Jerry Paul Smith. 3-day trial takes place. So to give you more detail, again, if you haven't heard of this before, Isai Toot was essentially catfished by a male who was posing as a female to the degree of even dressing up as a female. So cross-dresser. Apparently he was openly gay male, not trans or whatever, the laundry list of things that people are now. He was not, so he meets with Jerry Paul Smith, who is posing as, it's in my notes, let me find it, Angie Renee on Tinder. So he sees Angie Renee on Tinder. It's actually Jerry Paul Smith dressed as a female. They meet. It's dark. He can't tell it's a dude. Gets oral sex, leaves. They, after a second encounter, what happens with the second encounter is that Angie Renee then hits up Toot's roommates. And that's when they're like, wait a minute, something, isn't passing the smell test here. They go he goes and confronts Angie Renee, finds out it's not Angie Renee, it's Jerry Paul Smith, and essentially beats him to death. But there's some details that came out in the trial that I was unaware of as to why, because it was kind of a cut and dry, seemed kind of cut and dry at face value.
Yeah.
But this is why we wait, right? This is why we wait for facts to come out, because then you hear things differently. You're here, things that could sway your decision one way or the other. The 3-day trial in Montgomery County, Virginia, second-degree murder case, drew widespread attention last year because of the unusual circumstances, which I just explained. A college athlete who admitted fatally beating an openly gay man who posed as a woman on Tinder to initiate a sexual encounter. Toot's attorneys argued the beating was self-defense in a confrontation between the two, in which the man's true identity was revealed. When the verdict was read to the courtroom, Toot's father, David, collapsed into his seat while his wife, Nichelle, sobbed. Toot lifted his defense attorney, Jimmy Turk, off the ground in a bear hug, and both of them crying. Smith's family quickly left the courtroom, of course. So basically what came out in testimony is that they connected on Tinder, a dating app, weeks earlier, after Smith, who identified as an openly gay man, presenting himself online as 21-year-old emergency room physician Angie Renee. Turk contrasted his client with the victim in stark terms on Friday, in which he referred to Smith as a deceitful and dishonest man who defrauded young men for his own sexual gratification. Turk implored the jury, who is the real victim here? So Turk spent much of his closing statement arguing that Toot, who testified on his own behalf, which I didn't know that's super interesting to me, because that rarely happens, especially in a murder trial. He testifies on his own behalf that he acted in self-defense after Smith swung at him and reached under his mattress. So this is the part I didn't know about, the reaching under the mattress. Well, during the search warrant by police, a knife was hit, a murder scene search warrant. They get, they still obtain those just to make sure everything's kind of safe as far as the courts go. But while searching the bedroom, police found a knife hidden between the mattress and the box spring in a spot where Toot alleged that the attack took place. So he was reaching for something. So that, starts swaying the jury's mind a little bit. Etude also testified that he felt violated and said of discovering Smith's identity, he said, quote, "I was just in shock and disbelief that someone tricked me and lied to me." So I haven't dug too deep into this yet, but I probably will in the future, because there was a lot of, gay rights, LGBTQ organizations who were heavily invested into this trial. And I'm curious to see, I'm sure that the displeasure that they're going to display based off of the jury's decision. But, the part that really stuck out to me in what Jimmy Turk, the attorney, said is that he defrauded young men for his own sexual gratification. And it's absolutely true. But then you have, on the flip side, the organizations who were backing Jerry Paul Smith saying he doesn't owe an explanation to anybody. Yeah. And I'm sorry, I disagree. I think that when it comes to things like that, there needs to be an open line of communication. And if there's not, then you are tricking somebody into believing, that you're something you're not. So, So Isai Etude found not guilty. His bondsman cut his ankle bracelet off as soon as they left the courtroom, and he is now a free man. So, interesting how that. But like I said, I think there will be more to play out with that in the future. Not necessarily with him, but with rebuttal or backlash from organizations. So we'll keep an eye on that if there's anything noteworthy that takes place. Second story that we're going backwards on, Dwayne Haskins, obviously the tragic death that occurred with him being struck by a vehicle on the highway. So his tox screen and medical report came back. 2 separate samples of his BAC came back as a 0.20 and a 0.24. So
that's smoked.
Heavily intoxicated. Also found in his system was ketamine and norketamine. So what also was found to be in the medical examiner's report was that some of the details of what took place leading up to the events, which I hadn't seen these yet. He had dinner and possibly went to a club with a friend or cousin. They couldn't specify which, named Joey. They drank heavily and at some point got into a fight and separated, went their own ways. The female was found inside the vehicle that he had left, unknown what their relationship was as far as this report went. What else was in the report, which I didn't know, he was actually struck by a second vehicle too, the dump truck, semi-truck thing that hit him first, and a second vehicle that was behind that truck did maneuver to attempt to get out of the way, but did strike him on the undercarriage. So blunt force trauma, obviously the cause of death listed, but horrible. But yeah, there's some more details that came out in that I thought I would mention. Today, Jeff Gladney, current Arizona Cardinal, former Minnesota Viking. He was a 2020 first round pick. According to reports, 25-year-old died in a car accident early Monday morning in Dallas. This was confirmed by his agent. It took place at 2:30 a.m. in the westbound lanes of Woodall-Rogers Freeway at Allen Street in Dallas. The cause is still under investigation. However, it was noted that a female passenger died in the crash as well. So 2 fatalities in the crash. Super unfortunate. Gladney, if you remember, has been on Things That Sting before. He had a fantastic rookie season, but was released after a indictment on a felony assault charge that he was later found not guilty at in a jury trial. So he was cleared of that charge, looking to, revamp and restart with the Cardinals. So it's just terrible. TCU grad. He was a good player. So unfortunate. So we'll wait. I'm sure by next week we'll probably have some more details on what took place there. Number 4 out of 5 that we have here is the John Gruden lawsuit. A Nevada judge denies the NFL's motion to dismiss the Gruden lawsuit, opening the possibility of a jury trial on his tortious interference claim that the NFL and Commissioner Roger Goodell selectively leaked Gruden's emails to force his removal on October 11th. Judge Nancy Ulf denied the NFL's motion to compel arbitration as well as the league's motion to dismiss the case outright. The suit will now go on to a trial unless a settlement is reached. Ulf gave no timeline on that, though gave no timeline for when the next proceeding would be. But one of the interesting things, too, the NFL obviously says they will appeal, but the motion to compel arbitration, guess who the arbitrator would be in that hearing?
Who?
Roger Goodell.
Oh, jeez. Yeah,
that's one of the motions that they pushed for here. Is that no, we won't do this in a civil court. We're going to do it in an NFL court, essentially, and I'll be the judge. Yeah, and this judge in Nevada was like, "Fuck that."
Typical Goodell.
Yeah, so that was one of the concerns that Judge Nancy Ulf expressed, is that she's like, "Whoa, no, we're going to do that."
Basically on trial.
Yeah, exactly. You're part of the fucking lawsuit. You can't oversee it. Yeah, it's so stupid that. I mean, that like low key just kind of tells you how fucking power hungry that dude is.
Typical NFL.
Yeah, it's crazy. So, last one before we move on to my hive. Brendan Langley and the airport brawl. There was a lot of videos that surfaced one video, but it surfaced on a lot of publications of Brendan Langley, the current Calgary Stampeder, former Denver Bronco, getting into a fight with a United Airlines employee. The video, man, I don't know. So Langley's the only one. Langley gets charged. He's the only one arrested. But the video starts after something had already taken place.
Yeah.
So I think that's where the witnesses are coming in and saying, "Wait a minute." That's my only guess, because if you watch the video, it looks like the fucking United employee is the one who doing the initiating physical contact.
Well, the video I saw, Langley punches him and he doesn't go down or push whatever he did. But then the airport guy, he could have stopped right then and there. It could have been done as it was. And then I would have said, okay, Langley's in trouble. He put his hands on him. But then the airport guy's like, all right, I'm a little stunned. I'm going to just go throw the world's shittiest punch at this guy.
Yeah.
And throws the punch at him. And then even then, Langley's not hurt. He just kind of looks around are you fucking serious? And just cracks him. It's I don't think that's, something's not adding up there.
So the United employee was promptly fired. Langley is suspended indefinitely from the CFL. So that happened at Newark Liberty International Airport. So, it was a pretty funny video. But, it seemed like the other guy could have been charged too. But, again, witness statements are going to tell what happened before the dude starts recording, because, they even say that the recording started before or after the altercation began. So something took place before that. Langley's coming out saying that he called him a dick and was calling him all these names, wouldn't let it end. So I don't know, but that's it for the Things That Sting. This week's edition of the Things That Sting, powered by Jones Pest Control. Ants, spiders, bees, or mice, don't think twice. Call Jones Pest Control at 814-230-9548. We're going to take a short break, and we will be back with John Shusky in my hive talking college golf, transfer portal, NIL. I already said everything. So we'll be right back. All right, everybody, going to need you to stand by for a little bit longer. Technical difficulties on Shesky's end. Not really, but he didn't know he needed Google Chrome, so he's downloading that now. Give us a few more minutes, hopefully, and we'll be right back with him. Blue Line Auto, located at 1606 Pennsylvania Avenue East in Warren, is locally owned and operated and is a family-run business specializing in vehicle sales and service. They offer state and safety inspections and general car repairs, including but not limited to brakes and rotors, tires, oil changes, batteries, starters, and alternators. They also offer vehicle undercoating prior to winter to help keep your vehicle protected. Currently, their hours are Monday through Wednesday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., and Thursday and Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Call them today to schedule your next appointment at 814-230-9061. Your safety is their goal.
Hi, this is Ryan Klein, the host of the new pop culture podcast, Me, Myself, and Rye. You can find me on Spotify, iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and several other platforms. Special guests, breakaway shows, bonus episodes, cold beers, and a whole lot more. So what are you guys and gals waiting for? Subscribe now to the Me, Myself, and Rye podcast on Spotify or wherever it is that you get your shows and start listening today.
My High, Joe and Sketty's very own world of sports.
My Hive is brought to you by Blue Line Auto. For all your automotive needs, call Blue Line Auto at 814-230-9061 or stop in at 1606 Pennsylvania Avenue, East Warren. We are back with recurring guest, Jonathan Bucketzke. Oh, shit. Hold on, Jonathan. I got something for you. Wait for it. Cancel. Oh, God. I wasn't prepared. No. There we go. Jonathan, can you hear us?
I can hear some of it. I don't know if we've got like a bad connection or how any of that works, but it's like really scratchy and choppy right now. I did hear some applause. I don't know what I did.
You showed up. You got Chrome downloaded and you made it.
Yeah, I'm like the audio is like just super distorted. Like I know that you guys are talking, but I can't make any of it out for whatever reason.
Well, that's no good. Sketty, can you hear everything okay?
I can hear everything fine. Yeah, I can hear John fine. I can hear you fine.
Yeah, we can hear you fine.
I don't know if it's like the headphones, like if I should take those. I have no idea.
Try taking them out. See if that helps.
Yeah, I'm gonna turn those off for a minute and see.
As long as it doesn't make us echo.
Oh, I don't know why he's muted now.
Can you guys hear me better now?
Yes. Can you hear us?
Well, I don't know if I can hear you guys better.
Can you hear us better?
Yeah.
No, not really. I don't think that.
All right. Do you want to try stepping out, and I'll send you another invite. We'll just cut the break video. I'll send another invite, and we'll try and get you back in here. Is that cool?
All right. Yep. Let's try it.
All right. right, we're all back. Can you hear us now?
Man, so listen, I've done this on the desktop. I've done it on my laptop. We are now broadcasting from the cell phone, which I can hear you perfectly clear now. So
whatever works, man.
Hooray technology.
Well, I'll give you your round of applause again since you didn't hear it the first time. Joining us, recurring guest, Jonathan Bucketzke, one of my favorite guests we had, talked about his time in the military, going non-traditional into college, and not only just being a student athlete. Welcome back, John. We're happy to have you.
Appreciate it. I heard the whole round of applause that time, so that was awesome.
It's all of our fans. They come by form of soundboard on an app. Hey, thanks for coming back on. We actually discussed you a little bit last week because I had seen your post about transferring. Obviously catch up new listeners. Last time John came on, so to tell the story a little bit, John is a 20-year veteran of the United States Army. And he, after leaving, retiring from the military, decided he wanted to pursue his dream of being a college golfer. And not only did he pursue it, he's done it. So he golfed for Christian Brothers, which, correct me if I'm wrong, right outside of Memphis, Tennessee.
Yeah, I mean, it's right smack in the middle of Tennessee, or Memphis, Tennessee, yeah.
Okay, in Memphis, Tennessee. So he came on and talked about, his freshman year, getting on the golf team and everything. Just recently, I observed a post of his where he was looking into the transfer portal. So that piqued my interest. And unfortunately, I forgot to message him. I've had a lot going on, which he knows. We talked about, I'm a dad now. So busy weekend. But so we got him now, though. He's going to tell the story. I'm not going to blow the announcement. You already made the announcement, but the on-show announcement, I won't say where you're going. But just talk about a little bit about what happened there, if you don't mind getting into why you decided to head out, hit the transfer portal, and go from there.
Yeah, so it's one of those things that, we went into this thing. I moved to Memphis, went to school up there, and the plan was at some point to try to get my wife and kids there. I'm married, got 4 kids, ranging from a college freshman all the way down to a 10-year-old. And so that was the plan, that they were going to come and join me in Memphis, and we'd be there for, the next 3 or 4 years or whatever. But look, man, like, things just didn't work out that way. Like, financially, it's really hard. We're used to picking up and moving, but we're also used to the military or the government picking up the tab for that. And so picking up a wife and 4 kids and 4 dogs and everything, like it's really tough to pick all that up and move it. And buying a house, I don't know if you guys have looked into buying a house anytime recently, but it's tough right now, man. And especially in a place like Memphis and those surrounding areas, man, it's really pricey up there right now. So yeah, we looked into it and we made the decision that financially it just wasn't going to happen for us. And so after talking to my wife a little bit, I told her that I was going to try to find somewhere to play that was closer to here. And obviously I'm in Columbus, Georgia. There's Columbus State, which is also Division II. It's 15 minutes from my door. And that was, once I was in the transfer portal, that was the first place I reached out to. It's at that point, it's like the beginning of May, and, everybody's pretty much got their roster set for next year. Like, they've finished up recruiting and all that stuff, a while back. So, and they were full and didn't have room to take on another player, like, in their budget or whatever. So talked to some other places, and the unfortunate part is that a couple of the places that I talked to that are close by, like, there's one that's about 80 miles from here, which would have been great. Like, I would have probably still stayed there on campus or around campus somewhere, but being able to go back and forth on the weekends and stuff would have been a lot easier than being, 400 miles away. And so Christian Brothers for, I know they've got their reasons, but they decided that since that team resided in the same conference. I guess the Gulf South Conference has a rule that you can't, you can transfer within the conference, but the school that you're leaving has to give you permission basically to play that next year. Otherwise you have to sit out for a season. And I don't have a year to sit out, man. I'm 40 years old and trying to get this degree done and trying to move on to the next thing, you know. So Christian Brothers decided to block that move and didn't want me to transfer within the conference. And it's like I've told people, you know, I don't have any hard feelings towards coach or the athletic department or anybody there. And the reason for that is, like, I'm a competitor, man, and I know how much I want to win, and I know how much I work and how hard I work, and I wouldn't want to compete against me either, if I'm being honest. So, I mean, it is what it is, and it didn't work out. So I kind of expanded my search a little bit, and I put it out there on Twitter, you know, that I was looking for somewhere to play, and it didn't necessarily have to be close to home because I'd kind of looked into all those options, and there wasn't really anywhere to go nearby. And so I talked to a bunch of coaches, and I mean, as far as Pennsylvania, Chicago, Texas, like I talked to coaches all over the country, really. I had a couple, honest to God, of like Division III and NAIA coaches that had kind of followed the story, and they were like, look, man, if you just want to come here and play for a year and then transfer back to the Gulf South so you can go beat up on those dudes, it's fine with us. And while that was tempting, maybe, just because I've got a petty side to me, like I'm just like everybody else, man. I'm human. I decided that I didn't think that was necessarily the best route, and so, but I got in touch with they really got in touch with me, the coaches at Stephen F. Austin out in Nacogdoches, Texas. Which don't ask me to spell that, man. I'm still trying to figure that part out. I know there's a C in there and a G and. I'm still trying to figure out like what order they go in. So, but yeah, they got in touch with me and we talked quite a bit. You know, obviously there's a little bit of a difference in how the eligibility stuff works from Division I to Division II. You know, Division II works off of a semester clock. Division I works off of the 5-year clock. So, and what a lot of people don't know is that I actually enrolled in college right out of high school, and I went for about a month, and then I withdrew from all my classes and left, and then shortly thereafter joined the Army. But what I didn't know then, and what I didn't really think mattered then, was that started my 5-year clock with the NCAA. And so to play Division I, you've got 5 years to play 4 seasons. And so I basically lost year 1 when I enrolled right out of high school. But fortunately, my clock stopped when I joined the military. Didn't start back up until after my service was over. So like last season at Christian Brothers, I played my first season in my 2nd year of eligibility. So I've got 3 more years left to play 3 more seasons. So we're all good on that front. But yeah, so they, you know, their compliance folks, they worked through all the stuff on their end and made sure that they had all their ducks in a row and gave me some time and my wife some time to talk and figure things out. And yeah, Coach and I talked late last week, and you know, I had a visit scheduled. I was supposed to go and do an official visit, and he called me kind of late in the week last week, and I told him, I said, you know, honestly, Coach, like, unless I'm going to come there and like find dead bodies all over the golf course or something, like, I mean, I don't really know like what you're going to tell me or what I'm going to see when I get there that's gonna make me change my mind. And I'll be honest, like in my line of work for the last 20 years, like the dead bodies might not have even done it. I don't know. We still
teed up.
Yeah, so we talked and so I told him, you know, right then on the phone, I was like, I'm in. Let's do it. So yeah, so in August, and this is like 10 hours away, so I'm actually going further away from my family now. But yeah, I'm going to go to Nacogdoches, Texas, and I'm going to be at Stephen F. Austin in the fall and go play a little Division I golf, man. Division I golf at 40 years old, like I'm still really trying to process. I'm still, honestly, still trying to process the 40 years old and playing college golf part. Like I'm still trying to wrap my head around that. But the idea of playing Division I golf at 40 years old is still something that I just shake my head and go, man, like, how did you even get here?
Well, hard work and, you know, being a fucking badass at golf. That's how you got there. That's really what you did. But dude, so real quick before I forget to ask you, what schools in Pennsylvania did you look at?
I'm not gonna throw anybody's names out there. Mainly because
I wonder if any of them are close to us.
I can tell you. So one of them is near Pittsburgh. I'll tell you that.
All right, yeah, that's pretty close.
Yeah. So it's when I tell you that, like, I literally had, like, I had a couple of coaches that told me, like, we'll just take you on a loan for a year, and then if you want to go back to the Gulf South, like, we're kind of good with doing the loaner program for a year, and I'm telling you, it was tempting. Like, it was super tempting to go that route, because like I said, I'm a competitor, man, and so I wanted to get here close to home. That didn't happen, and there's a part of me, like I said, I understand why they made the decision they made. There's also a part of me that, like, I'm a little irritated about it. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I was mad about it. Like, I understand, but I'm still mad about it, you know.
Right.
And so that the idea of having a chance to at least go back for 2 years and play against them, that was more than tempting. Like, I almost just went that route right off the bat. So I'm glad that I had a chance to kind of cool down and think through things, and I think I'm in the right place. I'm where I'm supposed to be, I think, and yeah, we're gonna go play the next 3 years in Texas, and we'll see what happens, man.
So is the family going with you, or are they hanging back still?
So I will tell you this. The move to Texas, if I'm just being honest, man, look, financially, I don't know if we could have afforded to move to Memphis. Like, I mean, it's just expensive up there, man. Texas is a little bit more military friendly, and it's and let's just be honest, like, cost of living in Nacogdoches, Texas, not the same as Memphis, Tennessee, man. Like, it's, it's a little different. And if I'm being really honest, I don't know that my wife was sold on Memphis, Tennessee quite as much as I was. Like, I love the place. There's lots of sports to watch up there. I'm a big Grizzlies fan now, man. I went to a bunch of games this year, and they actually the first game of the Golden State series, like, they had me out at midcourt and did this big, like, military tribute thing for me, and
they did.
And so I'm
a video of
man, like, you gotta get on Twitter more, man.
I know, I do. I really do.
Yeah. So yeah, like, I've got some pictures and stuff from that. But yeah, like, they do a thing, like, every home game they honor a veteran. And so they picked me for game 1 of the Golden State series, and
dude, that's badass.
So, like, yeah, and so, like, I me and a couple of buddies, we went and we got to watch the game almost courtside, like basically right under the basket. Got to watch the game, and they did the whole thing at midcourt, and I got a jersey out of the deal, and so yeah, I loved Memphis, man. I was all in on the Grizzlies, and really just liked the town, honestly. Like, I was really comfortable there. I don't think my wife I don't think Memphis ever really grew on her in her time there and seeing what she saw, and that's okay. She's probably a little bit more suited for Texas, East Texas specifically. So, I mean, we'll see. Like, it's the tough part is I'm going to go play 3 years of college golf, and then the plan is to do one of two things. Like, hopefully over the next 3 years, I feel like I'm good enough to continue playing golf at some level. And if that's not the case, then I want to get into coaching. And so I guess, like, the dilemma for us is, do I move the family there for the next 3 years and then potentially have to pick up and move again because we're going to go coach somewhere, or maybe I, take a GA spot and go do my master's while I get started coaching. So, I mean, it's really, really hard to make that choice to, like, pick, like my kids specifically. My kids have lived here for almost 9 years, and they've got friends and people at school and whatever. And and so I don't know that I want to pick them up and kind of uproot everything for them. I mean, I don't know how much you guys have watched on Twitter, like, the last couple of weeks, but I got kind of bombarded by some guys that already think I'm being, like, super selfish, and apparently I'm abandoning my family to go play college golf is their words. So
that's their words without even knowing anything about your support system,
which is like really like that's the one thing that I've found about this whole thing that's been kind of hard. Like, it's funny that like people who literally just jumped in on this part of my life, they're like, oh, this guy retired from the Army, and like this is the point where they entered, and like they think they know something about me or us, like our family, and what the dynamic here is. Right. And that's the hard part that's been the hardest part of this whole thing is like I've tried to be very open about everything on Twitter and on social media, because I know that there are people that like they like this story and they want to kind of follow along this journey. And like, look, man, I'm having fun doing it, and I like sharing all the stuff that's going on and like how this is going. But man, there are days like when you get comments from ass clowns that are talking about abandoning your family that you're like, man, I just want to delete Twitter and to heck with all of you guys, and I'm just going to go do my thing and, you know, whatever. But yeah, so like, you know, my wife saw some of those comments and some of my friends, and I mean, we laughed it off, but it's one of those things that just, like, what do you know, man? Like, what do you really know? Like, all you know is like you've seen me tweet some, you know, like that's literally all you know about me is that I play college golf, retired from the Army, and you know me on Twitter. And like these people, for whatever reason, they think that, yeah, man, let me go tell this guy what I think about how he's living his life and what him and his family should do. It's just silly, man. Sure. And I'm reminded of Dave Chappelle. I know on one of his specials, he was talking about how he said, I got drug on Twitter about something that he said. And he was like, I don't give a crap. Twitter's not a real place anyway. And that's kind of how I look at it, man. Like, whatever, dude. Like, drag me on Twitter all you want. I don't give a crap.
Yeah. And it's probably coming from people who, and typically from what I gather because I'm like, I do like a little bit of creeping when somebody's talking shit about something. I'm like, well, let me see where click their profile and see what they're about. Like that's me. Cause I like to, you know, have a little background. I'm like Eminem when he squares off with Papa Doc in 8 Mile, where he like researched his background. I'm like, I'm gonna talk shit on you and your high school, you know, and your grandma who liked your I dig deep, but yeah, you know, it's ridiculous, and like that story kind of reminds. So season 1, which I think you were a guest on season 1, so we're into season 2 of the show. In season 1. It was, you know, we were just getting started. We didn't really have a like target audience. You know, my target audience was fucking sports fans, obviously. So I'm like on the Beehive Sports Podcast Facebook page, news feed. You can create your own news feed. When you get a business page, you can actually go through and like other pages. Like, you know, so I'm on ESPN and NFL Network's NFL.com's Facebook page and like all these pages. Because I'm like, if I comment on these things, then people will see we exist and they'll come watch us. That's not how it worked at all, which I later found out. But one thing I also found out is that if you troll people, which I sometimes do, like I'll talk some shit. I ain't afraid. I talked some shit from the podcast page on some, I don't even know what the topic was. Like, I don't even remember. Like a few days go by and all of a sudden I get a notification. It pops up and it says, you got a new review on your Facebook page. And I'm like, oh, cool. Like, we got a fucking review. I'm going to check this out. So I click it. It's just this dude who's like, what kind of douchebags troll people from their podcast pages on other pages? Like 1 star, like just, and I was like, I left it there. I didn't delete it because it's kind of like a reminder. I was just like, man, that's funny. But like, he comes on and starts, you know, which I kind of initiated it, which you did not. But it just reminded me of that, where it's like some guy who I don't even know is just like fucking hates us because I like made fun of him on some other podcast or some other.
You know, the thing is, that whole thing was a reminder to me though. Like I've got like 1,100 followers on Twitter, man. Like who gives a crap? But like it made me think about how guys think about. I know you guys hate him, but I'm going to use him as an example. you think about LeBron James. This dude's played basketball in the NBA for, 17 years or 18 years, whatever it's been.
We love LeBron.
Yeah. But
no,
think about the, and I don't know how guys like him block it out. I really don't. Like, not only does he have social media and the thousands of people that come and comment on anything he says on there, but at the same time, he's got ESPN and Fox Sports and NBC, like all the news out, like all these people are constantly at this guy. And it's not just him. I'm just using him as an example. He's like one of the biggest names in sports, you know?
Correct, yeah.
But it's crazy to think like the amount of crap that these people see and hear on a day-to-day basis. Like, I just got this one dumbass that's, you know, talking crap about me playing college golf and not. I'm like, bro, my kids are in school from like 8 o'clock to 4 o'clock every day. Like, I'd be at the golf course anyway. Like, what do you think's going on? Like, I'm retired, dude. Like, look at this farmer's tan I'm working with right now. What do you think I've been doing since I've been home, man? Like, I'm wearing a bucket hat for God's sake, so I don't get sunburn on my ears. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, whatever, man. So yeah, I just got this one jerk that's got something to say on Twitter. LeBron James literally hears it from 1 million people every day. And so it was kind of my reminder, like, because I'm like you guys, man. Like, I like talking sports and chopping that stuff up too, but, like, maybe occasionally, like, I don't know, maybe just give them dudes a break, man. Like, I know they're paid millions of dollars, and I think the part that we forget when we say, oh, they're pampered athletes or whatever, like, we forget, like, those dudes are human, man, and like, I don't care if you're worth $1 billion or if you're worth $10. Like, you don't like hearing people talk a bunch of crap about you, especially when they don't know anything about you. So yeah, I mean, I'm glad you left the comment up there. Like, it's good to kind of have that reminder that, yeah, man, like, we're all just humans trying to get by and trying to figure things out, you know? So.
Yeah. So, well, and kind of to add to your point here, something that we've talked about several times on this show is, and I'm not just saying it, you know, because you brought that up, but like in the things that sting where we talk about, you know, shitty things that are happening in the sports world. There was a week not too long ago where we talked about 2 Division I athletes who committed suicide. And a lot of it was because of pressure built up. And I know in one case, it was shortly after one of them had a little bit of a bad time on a ball field. And the rash of shit that they probably read about themselves from fan pages and stuff. And I mean, even to further that, something we've never seen in sports that we're seeing now is players taking mental health breaks. We never saw that before. But the emergence is and I'm not saying that social media is the only reason it's happening, but I can tell you 100% that it isn't fucking helping. It's definitely it's definitely not helping.
Look, man, I think we've got this like weird thing in our society now. And look, I know that things aren't great in the world, man. Like, I know the economy sucks and nobody likes paying $5 for gas or whatever. Like, I get it, man. Yeah. Like, I got all the same bills that everybody else pays, man. Like, I got to fill my tank up just like everybody else does. You know what I mean? And I got to figure out a way to put 3 other. I got 1 in college right now. I got to figure out how to put the other 3 through college. So, like, I get it, man. Like, I am very much in touch with middle America or whatever. But I think sometimes, like, instead of using sports as an outlet to, like, get away from that and enjoy a baseball game or a football game or whatever, I think we've gotten to this weird place in society where, like, sports has become instead of that outlet, it's an outlet where we like to get rid of our frustration. I think a lot of people are just angry in this world nowadays. And like I said, I get it, man. Like, the world's crazy right now. And it's tough, man. Like, I get it. Like, I understand. But we've turned sports into this, like, it's where we let all of our anger out. And, like, people, the thing that really bugs me is, like, if you were standing face to face with LeBron James, like, whatever tweet you just wrote about LeBron James, would you say that to LeBron James's face? Like, that's what I always ask people, because I've got a policy, and I live by this policy. if I say something about you on Twitter or on Facebook or wherever, I will absolutely 100% look you in the eye and say it to your face, man. Like I'm not gonna say anything on those platforms that I wouldn't look you in the eye and say. And look, like, and I say that understanding that there have probably been times that, like, if I said it to somebody's face, yeah, they might throw a punch at me. I'm willing to take that, man. I've been in a couple scraps in my day. I'm down. But like, I think like we've gotten to this weird place where people they take all their frustration with whatever's going on out on athletes, and the reason is LeBron James he's an easy target. Like the dude's worth $1 billion.
Yeah.
Tom Brady is an easy target. He's worth $1 billion, and he's married to a supermodel, for God's sake. Like, what else could he have? You know what I mean? Like Americans are just they don't want to see that because they're paying $5 for gas that they can't afford and trying to put kids through college or whatever. And so yeah, it's like it's this weird thing, man. That like I remember because I'm old enough to remember this. I remember Michael Jordan. I believe it was at the end of the first run of titles that the Bulls had. But it was when the gambling stuff first started. Like, I believe it was a series against, maybe it was the series against Phoenix it was against the Knicks. They were in New York. They had just lost game 1, I believe. And then Jordan, the next day, like, he went to Atlantic City and was in the casino with his dad. And people found out about it, and they were like, oh, well, Michael didn't look good in game 2 because he was partying at the casino. And Michael was like, no, man, like, I just went to the casino. Well, then people started digging, and they found out that he liked gambling, and like he literally had hundreds of thousands of dollars of gambling debts that he had paid to people. Like Michael Jordan wasn't good for a couple $100,000. You know what I mean?
Right.
But like, and I'm pretty sure that like somebody even like when I watched The Last Dance, like somebody even made the comment in that documentary, like him gambling $10,000 is like me and you gambling $10. Like, same thing.
Yeah, he had the money.
But I remember, like, I'm old enough to remember when all that happened. And, like, it was really the first time that Michael Jordan had faced any kind of scrutiny from the public at all. But, I feel like moments like that, like, that's really, like, the first time that I can remember an athlete, at least in my lifetime, a top athlete, like, really taking it from the public. And I actually posted about this today. Then he went and played baseball for a couple of years. And, like, people loved to talk about, oh, he sucks at baseball. I can't believe Like, do you understand that at 31 years old, Michael Jordan played AA ball. He batted over 200 and drove in 51 runs in that season when he played in Birmingham. He hadn't played baseball since he was 17 years old and just walked out onto a field full of professional ball players and was like, yeah, I'm gonna hit a couple home runs and bat in 50 runs. Like there are literally top prospects in the country right now that aren't going to bat 50 runs in AA ball this year. But Michael Jordan did it at 31 after winning 3 NBA titles. But
they might not even make it. Might not even make AA ball.
But like people jumped all over Michael Jordan and talked about he sucked at baseball, and so that for me was like my introduction to the American public and how they will turn on an athlete in a heartbeat. And I think it all boiled down to Americans when they saw Michael Jordan's gambling all the time and they saw those numbers. Like it was the numbers that did it. If you would have just said Michael Jordan was in the casino playing blackjack because he liked blackjack, nobody would have had a problem with that. But as soon as they found out that Michael Jordan was literally betting hundreds of thousands of dollars on the golf course, like just recreation, like let me go burn $200,000, like that offended like middle class and lower class Americans. They were like, well, they turned on him because they'll never see that amount of money at any point in their lives, and he's just spending it on the golf course, man, like no big deal. And over the last 30 years, like that has gotten progressively bigger, man. Like Americans, as soon as they see athletes and they see those millions of dollars, athletes aren't human anymore. Like this is where we voice all of our frustration with whatever's going on. So it's super weird to me that people act that way, especially on social media. Like anybody gives a shit what you say on social media, man. Like whatever.
Yeah. So back to the Jordan thing. That story was broke. If I'm remembering correctly, it was by like a Chicago Bulls trusted beat writer. Like it was somebody who
he wrote for the paper in Chicago, and then he wrote a book. Like the dude literally wrote a book and like really bashed Jordan hard in the book and talked about how the rest of his teammates hated him and all this stuff. It was bad, man. It was really bad.
Yeah, and another thing to add to that too, the reason he pressed gambling would be because you're talking mid 90s where its popularity is nowhere near what today you pick up your phone and you get on an app and you make a bet and life is good. But back then it was still a vice. People looked at gambling as a vice. And
and that's the other thing is like Jordan, he told reporters even then, like they would ask him, "Do you have a gambling problem?" And he just laughed and he was like, "I don't have a gambling problem. Like a gambling problem, like my kids would be starving. Like I'm a multi-millionaire." He's like, "I have a competition problem. Like that's why I like gambling." And like he was that dude that like going out to play 18 holes of golf wasn't going to be enough for him. He had to have some sort of competition, and for him, putting $100,000 on the line was the competition for him. Like that's where he got off. Like that's where he got his competitive juices going. So yeah, it was. I mean,
so to go back on something else you said, I would love nothing more than to take LeBron James on a ride along.
Or a ride along, yeah.
I would love to do that just to show it. And there is one other athlete who, and maybe this is just for a little bit for my safety, that I wouldn't fear talking shit to is Kyler Murray, because fuck him. I don't like him. I wish he would go play. He needs to go play baseball. Sketty loves that I hate Kyler Murray so much because he doesn't understand it.
I don't understand why he hates the guy, but he just absolutely loathes Kyler Murray for some reason.
He's just a little, I don't know, something about
I mean, I guess we've all, like, for me, the athletes or coaches that I dislike, like, I only dislike them because they're, like, on a rival team or something. So, like, I couldn't stand Drew Brees, man, because I'm a Carolina Panthers fan. And so, yeah, like, I couldn't wait for that dude to retire. And Sean Payton, same thing, man. Like, I was super happy to see that dude wasn't coaching anymore. Or Urban Meyer. Like, what's that?
Brady. I mean, I'm being a Buffalo fan, like having Brady, retire was like, leave the AFC East. I shouldn't say retire because even when we thought he was going to do that, I mean, I was the Bills fan who every year was cheering for Brady in the Super Bowl when he played for the Patriots, because I'm like, if he wins this one, he has to retire, right? That's what he's going to do. He's going to go out on top. And next year he's playing again. I'm like, fuck. Finally, he, and you know what? Clearly, I was way off, because even when he did retire, it was for all of a week and a half before he was like, yeah, you know what? Just kidding, I'm coming back. But yeah, no, I'm with you. So the big issue I have, like, I don't care if somebody doesn't like an athlete or a coach or a team and they want to talk shit on it. I'm fine with that. What I am not okay with is, like Debo Samuel coming out saying, dude, look at my Twitter inbox. It's a bunch of death threats from Niners fans who are mad I'm thinking about my future and maybe making a business decision. That fucking irks me to no end, because it's like, first of all, as much like Stephon Diggs, if he would have left Buffalo, I would have been fucking crushed. He's my favorite player. I love Stephon Diggs. He ended up, signing and staying, of course. But had he left, I would have been crushed. I would have been mad at him. I would have been all sorts of things. At no point would I have thought, you know what? I'm going to hop on Twitter and tell him, that I'm going to end his life over him. Like, that's insane to me.
I was going to say, it's because you're a normal, like, functioning human being. So that's why you wouldn't do that.
As far as you know.
For me, I think, again, like, Americans love lashing out at athletes because they're the rich and famous people, and that's who, and, like, look, man, like, I'm probably never going to see as much money in my lifetime as much as some of those dudes make in a couple of years of playing pro ball, and that's okay. And look, I get, like, that athletes, here's what, like, when you talked about, like, taking LeBron on a ride along, like, I know what you meant. And I've always viewed that kind of stuff this way. An athlete, whether it's LeBron James or whether it's me playing college golf or whoever in between, those dudes and ladies have all the right in the world to say whatever they want and whatever viewpoint they take on an issue. Like, man, like if I've got the freedom to say what I want to say, just because you're a billionaire that plays basketball doesn't mean that you should have that right taken away from you. What I tell folks is simply this. When LeBron James makes a statement about something, or when, I mean, look, man, I don't care if it's LeBron or the president, or I don't care who it is, man. Like, I generally just consider the source, man. Like, and yeah, okay, well, like, I guess what I'm saying is, I don't understand why we care so much about what LeBron thinks about those things.
Yeah.
Like that, I guess that's the part that's really confusing to me is like, and I felt the same way about like the whole taking a knee during the national anthem thing, man. Like would I do it? Absolutely not, man. I spent 20 years, in the Army, and I wouldn't dream of taking a knee during the national anthem. I wouldn't dream of burning the American flag. Like that seems like, to me, those things are as disrespectful as anything you can do as far as the United States is concerned. But I also recognize that not everybody feels the same way I do. Not everybody served for 20 years in the military, and like I never had a problem with Colin Kaepernick taking a knee and making whatever statement that he wanted to make. And when people would ask me about that, they'd be like, "How can that not offend you?" And well, first of all, you can only be offended by what you allow to offend you. Like,
right.
And I don't allow Colin Kaepernick taking a knee during the national anthem to offend me. I don't care. I genuinely do not care. I don't see it as disrespectful to me. I don't see it as disrespectful to any of the guys or ladies that I served with or whatever. And if I'm just being honest, I don't care what his opinion is on most any matter unless it's on the football field, because that's what he's good at. He's a good football player. And the same with LeBron James. Like if LeBron James gets on television and starts talking about an offensive system in basketball or whatever, I'm all ears, man. I want to hear what LeBron James has to say. But when LeBron James gets on television and starts talking about other stuff, I mean, he has every right in the world to talk about it, and I'm not going to criticize him for talking about it. I'm just not listening. Like, I'm not interested in listening to him talk about it, just like he's probably not interested in my opinion on most things. And I think we spend too much time paying attention to stuff. Like if you don't care what LeBron James had to say about something, then just turn it off. Like, don't listen to him.
I think the reason why people do get wound up when they say things off the cuff about something, not in their field, like LeBron, for instance, is because his platform is one of the, if not the biggest in the world. So I think that, to me, that's what I think people, because I don't get butthurt about what he says. I don't care, like, because it's LeBron. I just generally poke fun at it because that's how I deal with things like that. But
I do that a lot of times too. But why is LeBron's platform so big?
Oh, because of basketball, right?
No. I'm talking like I mean, sure, he's a professional ball player or whatever, but the reason his platform, like when he speaks about something, the reason that platform is so big is because a million people tune in and listen. And that's what I try to tell people, man. Like, the reason LeBron James keeps making those statements is because you keep tuning into ESPN to listen to him make those statements. And you keep clicking on links on Twitter to see what he said next. And if you stop doing that, they're not going to care. Like, the media is going to stop covering what LeBron James says because it doesn't get clicks anymore.
I just think the people get mad when he says stuff that they disagree with because he can sway a whole shitload of people to believe what he's saying or take interest in what he's saying. That's just how I think that it takes place. I agree with you.
That may be true, but I'm going to tell you, if LeBron James is swaying your opinion on any issue, man, you've got way bigger issues than whatever LeBron's talking about. Like, if that was the point. If that was the point for you, you're like, oh my God, LeBron said that? Well, that changes my whole viewpoint on things. Like, then man, you probably, I don't know what to tell you.
That's the fucked up part, is there literally are people who are like, Yeah, he's fucking right. I'm with LeBron. I'm no matter, that's just the reality of it. Is there are people out there.
We're never gonna save those people anyway, man. So we just let them drift out to sea.
No, we're not. So getting back to college stuff real quick. I love getting off topic, so don't think I'm like, oh shit, we just did that. I don't care. We could talk forever. It doesn't bother me one bit. Plus, you bring up good points, which we appreciate on our show because this show is the hottest takes in Northwestern Pennsylvania. Just so you're aware.
I used to do a sports podcast, man, so I kind of miss that stuff sometimes.
Well, maybe you need to come on more because we got a bunch of crazy shit to talk about, especially when football comes up. But so one thing I wanted to get into you with NIL. Where are you at with NIL? Well, I know Swing Juice. That's how we met.
Yeah,
that's how we met. Right there. Sticker.
No, so I mean, I've got a couple. Swing Juice is obviously like those are my peeps, man. That's my fam. And they've been super good to me. Like I'm talking like from pretty much day one of NIL. John and those guys at Swing Juice, they were totally on board. And so yeah, man, like as far as like the shirts and hats and all the stuff, like I know the guys that I play golf with here whenever I'm at home, those dudes are probably tired of Swing Juice, man, because like that's all I wear when I'm on the golf course. And like obviously like when I was playing college golf, like you're in the uniform stuff, and so like this summer, like I've got a bunch of tournaments that I'm playing in this summer, and I'm super excited to finally get to rep Swing Juice at tournaments. I'm pumped about that. And then, I mean, also the Barstool Athlete. I don't know if you guys can see it or not, but I'm sporting the Ain't No Hobby Barstool bucket hat right now as well. But I mean, the Barstool Athlete thing is just like monetarily or whatever. There's not like they sent us some sweatpants and a sweatshirt or whatever, which was really cool. For me, that part was, I mean, it was just, I thought it was neat that they did that. Like, I think Barstool. Yeah. For whatever flaws Barstool might have, and they do have some, they know how to bring attention to certain things. Like I remember, when COVID happened and, college golf got canceled, Riggs and the guys at the Foreplay podcast, it wasn't COVID. It was the year after that, I think. They one of the regionals got canceled because of weather. That's what it was. And they just took whoever the top 8 seeded teams were and advanced them. And so Riggs and those guys at Barstool, they put together a tournament in Arizona and got the NCAA to bless off on it, and so those teams could go out and compete and have that chance to get their postseason play in. So for whatever faults Barstool has, and I know they have some, I still think they bring a lot of attention to a lot of things that need attention, and I think they overall I like a lot of the stuff that they do. So I'm super
I do too.
Happy to represent them too. And then I've got a couple of them are some that like a lot of college athletes jumped on with, like Liquid IV. They send me some stuff, and I post a couple of social media things a couple times a month. But it's really good stuff, man. Like if you want to. I'll tell you, it's good for two things. It's really, really good for hydration, but it's also really, really good for the morning after. Like
I've had it. We had it in we went to a wedding in November in Florida, and they did liquid IVs and all the gift bags that were in every hotel room. Yeah, they're good.
Look, man, when you're 40 years old, Beale Street ain't no picnic anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like you got, it's a little tougher to get up the next day. So. But yeah, Liquid IV's been great.
The night of the who'd Michigan beat to get into the championship against Georgia?
Iowa.
Was it Iowa? Iowa made the playoff?
No. They beat them in the Big Ten championship. Michigan didn't play in the national championship ball. Yeah. They got stomped out of the playoff by Georgia.
So it was the night of the Iowa game was when I was texting you, and I was like, how you feeling? Because I knew you were getting pretty tuned in that night. But yeah, so Liquid IV the next morning is perfect. Hey, I'm 38.
Liquid IV was perfect.
Far behind you, so I
if you kill that 24-pack of Busch Light, then the Liquid IV is really helpful the next day, man. So and then The Winston Collection is another. It's a golf company. They do, head covers and like travel bags and like you name it, yardage book covers, like all that kind of stuff. And they've been really awesome. And then there's a company in Chattanooga, Tennessee called Talco Industrial Chemicals. And like, what does that have to do with me playing college golf? Not really much of anything, but I played in a tournament up there last summer. And the gentleman that owns the company, he and I became really quick friends, and he wanted to talk to me about, retiring from the Army and what I was doing and everything. And he just told me straight up, he was like, man, he said, I'm going to dig into how this NIL stuff works, and we'd really like to support you and help you out. And so that's been a relationship that over this past year has been really awesome too. So yeah, I mean, I've got a few of the NIL things. I know it's like, for me, like, I'm not going to make $1 million like Bryce Young at Alabama or some of those guys. But the cool part for me is that, like, there is a chance to build some of these relationships, like with Swing Juice and others, because I get that my story is a little bit more unique than the average, college golfer that playing at a D2 school in Memphis or whatever.
The average 40-year-old college golfer.
Yeah, there you go. I remember the last time I was on with you guys, we talked about the average age on our golf team at Christian Brothers. It just dramatically went down. They might be like the youngest team in the country now. So. And now Stephen F. Austin is about to become the oldest in the country. So setting records everywhere, man.
Swaying the bar everywhere you go. Yeah, I like it.
That's right.
Another thing I just wanted you to touch on, you put a pretty cool post up, being, a 20-year military vet, Memorial Day weekend, obviously. Just wanted you to say a quick piece on what Memorial Day means to you.
Oh, I mean, obviously for me, Memorial Day is a big day, man. Like I posted about this on social media, and anybody that knows me, like, I've lost a lot of good friends over the last 20 years, man, and that part sucks. And so today is, I think about those guys every day, man. Like, I don't need Memorial Day to remind me of those guys. But yeah, Memorial Day is one of those days. Like, I think for me, it's almost harder. Like, looking at social media and looking at everybody post the stuff that they post, like. I think that's harder than if there wasn't a Memorial Day at all. Doug, does that make sense? Like, it's like,
no, it does.
Like, I think about those guys all the time, but then on days like today, when it's like American flag after American flag, and it's just a little tougher on days like today. But yeah, so like, obviously Memorial Day means a lot to me, and I'm glad that people. I'm glad that people set aside a day to think about those guys, because I know the sacrifices that they make. That they made, and like, it can't be overstated. Like men and women literally went and died for this country, and if taking a day out of our daily lives to think about that is, I don't think that's too much. I think the thing that bugs me about Memorial Day is there are people that have like hijacked this day a little bit. And somebody on my Facebook page made a very good point earlier. They said Memorial Day used to be almost like, it was like 4th of July Junior. You know what I mean? Like, with the, people wanted to go boating and have a barbecue and, and just enjoy a day, And now it's turned into this thing where, like, everywhere I looked on social media today, there was somebody posting, your day at the beach is brought to you by their day at the beach. And it would show like a picture of Normandy. Yeah. And I'm like, when did we get to this place where like, do you think we're going to forget that Normandy happened because we're grilling hot dogs and hamburgers, man? Like, and I feel like we've gotten to this weird place where like it's almost like people, like, they try to make folks feel guilty about having their barbecue or going to the beach or playing around the golf. Like, and look, this goes back to what I was saying before about the athlete stuff, man. Like, think about the world that we live in today, and like the economy sucks, and we're paying $7,000 to fill up our gas tank, or what, like all the things that are wrong. Like, just let people have a day off, man. You know what I mean? Like, just let people enjoy the day at the beach and the long weekend and the barbecues or whatever. And because, like, I'm sure that everybody woke up this morning and as soon as they turned on a TV, a phone, or whatever, they saw that it's Memorial Day. Like, they got it, man. Like, they don't need you with, like, this, like, I'm looking over your shoulder, making sure you're supporting our men and women of the service. Like, we get it, man. Like, we're okay. And so, like, that's kind of my pet peeve about Memorial Day, man. Because and the reason I say that is because I know, and I know this for a fact, every guy that I've served with that died in Iraq or in Afghanistan or whatever, I know that every one of those dudes would tell you, if they were here right now, they would tell you, please go have a barbecue or go to the lake or go play golf or do yard work or whatever it is you want to do and have a day. Like, just go do whatever you want to do,
right?
Because that's what they died for, man. Like, the whole point is so that you had the freedom to have that barbecue or whatever it is you're doing today.
Yeah.
And so it bugs me that people, like, have almost hijacked Memorial Day and turned it into, like, this guilt fest or whatever.
They have, too. The post that I always see is like, don't forget the reason. Don't forget the reason. And the other, so I have a pet peeve about
forgetting. Like,
right. I have a pet peeve about Memorial Day too, actually, which is odd. I'm not, I was never in the military or anything like that, but I have a pet peeve about Memorial Day where people sometimes confuse it with Veterans Day, where they're like thanking all their friends who are currently serving, and I'm like, but that's Veterans Day. I mean, and again, like you said, you're never going to forget. You think about those guys every day, not just on Memorial Day. And like
and
my veteran friends, like who I talk to, I think about what they did all the time too, rather than just on one specific day.
I've got a couple of buddies that I've talked to about that very thing, because that's never offended me. Like, I've had people, like friends of mine, who have literally known me nearly my entire life and know that I served in the military for 20 years. Like, they understand, that hit me up today and said, happy Memorial Day, thanks for your service or whatever. And what I try to tell people is, like, man, people are busy. Like, people are working 40, 50, 60 hours. They don't have time to sit and read about every military holiday or regulation or whatever. And so what I remind guys of, especially guys that I served with or other veterans or whatever, if somebody tells you thank you for your service on Memorial Day, man, just tip your cap, say thank you, and go on about your day. Like, I don't lecture people about it. I really don't. Like, if somebody says that to me on Memorial Day, I just say thank you and move on with my day. Because, I mean, look, I know Armed Forces Day is for people that are currently serving and wearing the uniform right now. Memorial Day is for those who have passed away, and Veterans Day is for everybody else. Like, that's me now. But I get it. But I understand that, like, the average ordinary American doesn't
understand.
Like, they don't, man. Like, they don't know that. And so I tell those guys, I'm like, look, you got 3 days a year, and maybe 4 if you count, like, 9/11 and stuff, because I know, like, that day is a big day in our country now, where people, like, really take that time out to stop and think about those events. But I tell them, like, you've got those 3 or 4 days a year where people are going to thank you for your service, and just say thanks and move on, And
instead of correcting,
and I get it, like, because that to me just comes off a little obnoxious. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like if I walk up to you and tell you thank you for something, and then you start correcting me for what I just thanked you for, like, I'm going to be annoyed by that. I'm not lying. And so I think for me, like, I'm okay with it. But I do understand, like, I get that there are guys, because I was this way for a long time, man. I didn't know how to react for the longest time when somebody would say that. Like, when they would walk up and want to shake your hand and say thanks for your service or whatever. Like, it was always a really, really awkward experience for me. I didn't know what to do or what to say or whatever. And finally one day I did it. Like, I remember I saw a guy that was wearing he had the Vietnam hat on.
Vietnam hat,
It
yeah.
had all the pins and everything on it. And the reason that I did it was I was in school here at Fort Benning. It was before my family and we all moved here, but I was here for a school, and I had just done this presentation on one of the battles that took place in Vietnam. And like reading about that and researching like what took place there, I was like, Jesus, man, like Afghanistan had its moments where it sucked and it was really bad, but like it was never as bad as what some of those dudes did in Vietnam, man. Like that
For
sucked.
sure.
Like I would have quit, man. There's no way you could have paid me to go to Vietnam and do some of the stuff that those dudes did, man. Like those dudes are hardcore on a whole nother level. And so I remember, like, I just walked up to this guy, and I was like, hey, like, I know you guys don't hear it enough, but, like, thanks for your service, and I appreciate everything you guys did. And I told him, I said, what you guys did and your service and what happened, like, I have it better now as a soldier because of what you did and the stuff that you went through. Like, the fact that you lived in crappy barracks and ate crappy food and didn't get paid very much, like, all the stuff that I have, like, the BAH and the house that I live, like everything has gotten better for us as a military because of you guys. And he just stood there and listened to me talk and made eye contact and shook my hand. And after I was done, he was like, thank you. Like, I really appreciate that. And like, I think for me, it was that day that I was like, I'm not going to be uncomfortable when people do that anymore, man.
Yeah.
And so I try to make it a point that when somebody says that to me, to look them in the eye and shake their hand and just tell them thank you. Cause like, I didn't have to come home to people spitting on me and calling me a baby killer and stuff like that. Like I didn't have to deal with that kind of stuff, when I got back from a deployment like those dudes did. And so like the least I can do is when somebody thanks me is I can stand there and shake their hand and look them in the eye like a man. And, because that guy that I'm talking to you about, like, he didn't get that when he came home. Like, nobody was thanking that dude for his service when he came back. So yeah, like Memorial Day for me, like obviously it holds a different meaning for me than it does for other people. But I just I caution people against like lecturing people on Memorial Day and I mean just. Nobody has forgotten that it's Memorial Day, man. Like we've only been out of Afghanistan for 10 months or whatever it's been. Like nobody's forgotten anything. Like let's just chill and let people enjoy their hot dogs and hamburgers, you know?
Sketty might be able to help me with this one because I can't. I want to say it was Warren, where we live, who it wasn't that long ago. They did like a welcome parade for the Vietnam veterans who live in our town as a way of awesome, since they didn't get that when I know it happened locally and I think it was here. Do you remember that at all or no?
I don't remember it. No, don't remember that.
It was. I mean, it wasn't very big, but I think they did it over at our bridge. They just renamed to what do they name the bridge to? The Hickory Street Bridge is now in honor of military, and it has military flags on either side of it. Did Sketty, you didn't even know that?
Nope, that shows you how much I read our paper. Yeah. No idea that happened. No idea.
You spent such time. That was like 2 years ago.
Yeah, nope. Missed it.
Anyways.
You sound like me, man. Like
John.
You sound exactly like me. Like whatever's going on. Like honestly, I don't ever read papers. I don't watch the news. So like. Yeah. I get my news from Twitter. I kid you not, man. Like when something big happens, I've got to see it on at least like 10 different Twitter posts, and then I'm like, all right, I'll look into this. But like, if I don't see it trending on Twitter, I'm like, I don't care. It can't be that important. It's probably not even real, so I'm not even looking.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's where they did it, though. Yeah, it was a cool. I swear it was locally. Now I'm gonna have to look it up and find the article. But I know
I kind of want to. I kind of want to Google it now, but I'm using my phone to talk to you guys, so I can't.
I'll find it and see, because I know it was around here. Maybe it was Erie, but I swear it was in Warren that they did that. They did like basically like, hey, you guys didn't. You kind of got shit on when you came home, and we're gonna. Though it's years later, we're gonna do something to try and make that right. So huge gesture, I thought. But So John, thanks for coming on. How you feeling about like football season coming on and butting heads with us a little bit about some NFL talk when we get going into like training camps and stuff?
Yeah, I mean, as long as we're talking like before August, I'm probably good. As much as I would love to come on like during football season.
That's
I do, man.
Is that golf season for you in the South?
Yeah, it is. I mean, we'll be kicking off the fall season for college golf. But yeah, like I miss doing the sport because like when I got here to Columbus, like I did talk radio for a little over a year here at the local ESPN affiliate, and that was like the coolest thing I'd ever done. And I did it with a dude that had been in radio for like 30-some years, man. And we had so much fun doing that show. And then I left there, and then I started my own podcast, like self-produced it, and had a buddy that we did the podcast together. And we were able to block off time at the local radio station there, and they let us come in and use their equipment to record it. And it was awesome, man. Like it was really well done. Yeah. But like the part for me was like I just love chopping up sports, man.
That's literally our whole mission here.
Yeah, so like as much as I miss that, it's just like, and the thing that sucks the most is like during the summer is when like there's to me anyway, like there's the least amount of sports to talk about. Like like the NBA is about to wind down. The NHL is about to wind down.
And baseball's not even a third of the way through their season.
But for me, baseball is, and I know that there are some people that are like, this is probably the most controversial thing I will have said tonight. Baseball, to me, isn't a real sport until August. I'm sorry, I said it. Like I can't be interested in 162 games, man. I can't. How invested do you expect me to be? I can't do it for that long. And so
you're not going to hear any rebuttal from him or I. I know that for a fact.
I don't even start watching it until August. I can't help myself. I can't do it, man. And so this is literally the most boring time of the year for me, because also at the same time, like now that I don't do the podcast or radio stuff anymore, I don't keep up with like all the off-season stuff in the NFL. Like I watched the draft and I paid attention to what my team did, but I don't give a crap what the other 31 teams did. And so like I don't keep up with any of the storylines and stuff. I'll be honest with you, there are probably going to be, it'll be like at least week 3, and I'm going to be watching a game and I'm going to be like, holy crap, that dude plays for that team now? Like, I guarantee that's going to happen to me at some point during the NFL season. Because I've missed, like, every trade, every free agent move. Like, I have no idea what's going on. So, yeah, it sucks. But
we'll give you a couple months to catch up. And then before you ship off to Nagasaki, whatever the hell that town is called in Texas, whatever what's it called?
Well, it's not Nagasaki, I can tell you that. It's Nacogdoches. I can't believe you've never heard of that. Like I've at least heard of Nacogdoches, Texas before I've ever even going to show up there.
I've heard of Stephen F. Austin. I've heard of the school. Yeah. I've never heard of Nacogdoches or whatever the hell it was.
Yeah, but and I didn't know this. Like I knew that their mascot is they're the Lumberjacks. But what I did not know is how big the foresting industry is in East Texas. Like, I had no idea that forestry was such a big deal over there, and apparently it's a huge deal. Like at Stephen F. Austin, like they have like a whole program dedicated to forestry and all this stuff. So yeah, man. Like I do feel like I've got the look for the lumberjack thing though. I'm kind of excited about that. Like I'm gonna throw an axe handle over my shoulder and head on down there, man.
Do they wear like red plaid golf polos?
No, so their colors are like, it's like purple, black, and white. Oh man, I don't know what I did with I just got my flag in the other day that I ordered. But yeah, it's like purple, white, and black, and like some combinations that have some like gray or silver or whatever in it, I think. But
you were our formerly our second favorite pirate behind Johnny Depp. But now you're heading off to, so you went from the Pirates to the Lumberjacks.
Am I your number one lumberjack?
You'd have to be.
I mean, look, I would have put me at number 2 behind the brawny guy until he shaved his beard, and now that dude's a loser. So
the brawny guy.
I'm definitely ahead of that dude now.
But the thing is, he did have a beard before it was like super cool.
That's true. But yeah, I mean, but like when it became super cool to have a beard is when they shaved the guy. I was like, what are you doing to this dude? It was awful. But no, speaking of the plaid shirt, so like my wife has already been on the internet and scoured the internet, and we are putting together my look for football season because I'm super pumped that Stephen F. Austin has football because my last school did not have football.
Right. Yeah.
And that stinks, man. So yeah, we're already putting together my look for like football and basketball because I'll definitely be at every basketball game that I can get to while I'm there. But she's already found me like the flannel shirt. It's like purple with like the little white stripes and everything.
Nice.
I guess they have a tradition there where incoming students, like everybody gets their own axe handle to like bring to the football games or whatever. So I'm super excited about getting my axe handle. I'm telling you, man, I love the college experience at 40 years old. I wasn't ready at 18. I'm super ready now, though. I enjoy all this.
Scotty and I are living it through you, man.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, it's like I'm telling you. The other day I was wearing this hat and I had on a pair of like white sunglasses, and my wife was like, "You're giving off like some real what's the movie? Fear and Loathing."
Yeah.
I've only seen it one time, but like she was like, "You're giving off some serious vibes like that." And I told her, I was like, I'm just a college dude, man. I'm just hanging out, enjoying life, man.
Well, hey, John, thanks for joining us. We got to wrap up because I have to go be a dad.
Yeah, man. And hey, I hope you get some sleep, buddy, because these next few months are going to be rough for you, my guy.
Yeah, I know. But I'll tell you
congratulations, though. Seriously, man.
Thank you. It's. I told Sketty, and actually we kind of told the story at the beginning of the show tonight about how this whole weekend went down and everything, but like there's no feeling like it. Like people
no, that's incredible.
Everybody told me that, and but they could never really explain why. Why is there no feeling like it? Because I'd ask, like, what do you mean? Well, I can't really put it into words. And now like I get it. So like I'm on that same. So now I'm telling people like Sketty, I'm like, hey, Sketty, there's no feeling like it. And one day he's going to look at me and be like, you're right, man. There is no feeling like it. But I'll tell you this before we were done. I watched an interview with Ryan Reynolds once, and he was talking about becoming a father. And he said, there was a time, like he said, I look at my wife and I love her more than anything in the world. He said, but then my child was born and I held that baby in my arms, and in that moment I realized that I would use my wife as a human shield to protect that baby if I had to. And that's how, I'm telling you, like that's how it is, man. Like man, there's something about when you have kids and like when you hold them that first time, like there is no mountain that you wouldn't move, man, like to protect that kid. So seriously, congrats, man. It's really awesome. I love being a dad, and I'm sure you're gonna be good at it, man. Appreciate that. So yeah, we'll touch base with you here in a couple months and get you on before you ship off, because we'll talk about the John Shusky's exit to Texas. We're gonna talk about that. We'll do that when we get close to you. Give me a heads up on when you're going to be moving out there, and then we'll do it before you move. Last question for you. Do you have any room on your golf bag for a new towel? Because we got some. Do you have any room on your golf bag for a new towel? We got some Beehive Sports Podcast golf towels made. I'll ship one out.
Absolutely, I do. Yeah.
All right. Cool.
I'm telling you, I can't get enough golf towels. And the only golf towel that I have on my bag that like doesn't come off of it at all is my Any Given Monday towel from my buddy over at Any Given Monday. I don't know if you guys follow Ryan or not, but literally my favorite golf follow on Twitter. Man, I love following that dude and keeping up with what's going on with the Monday Qs and what they do. But yeah, that's the only golf towel that I have that just won't come off my bag. But yeah,
well,
I'll make this my second one.
I'll send you a few of them, man. We just got them made like, I don't know, about a month ago or so, but they're just
awesome.
10-inch microfibers, but they're cool. So yeah, I'll get a couple of them down to you. And hey, we appreciate you coming on. Can't
appreciate it.
Look forward to having you again. And I'll keep in touch. Yeah, I'll do a little bit better job keeping in touch now. I wanna see how this all plays out with D1 plus, like that future goals, right?
Yeah.
So if you move into bigger and better, I'm just gonna be like, yeah, we know John. Yeah, he's a buddy of ours. He's on the show all the time. Now I'm betting on him in the PGA Championship.
That's right. Just don't tell me.
No matter. Hey, whatever your odds are, I'm taking them. I don't care. It's worth it. So,
all right, my man.
Hey, thanks again for coming.
Appreciate y'all having me, man.
Thanks, John.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it, guys.
All right. Always goes along with John on, and it doesn't bother me one bit because the topics are always great. So it was cool having him, and yeah. So that's gonna wrap us up, though. Long episode tonight. That's okay. We had a lot to talk about. I had to talk about being a dad.
Yeah.
You know. You didn't.
You got to go be a dad.
Interview, but yeah, I do got to go be a dad.
Well, you guys were just going off. I was just enjoying.
It was a good conversation.
Letting you guys do all the talking.
Yeah. How was your barbecue you went to or cookout?
It was pretty good.
I kind of half expected you to show up on the show tonight like a little bit lit up.
Oh no, I got lit up yesterday. So tonight I had like 2 beers earlier and just wasn't feeling too good. Yeah, got into the gin and lemonade yesterday. So yeah, it was a rough one.
What'd you do yesterday?
We had a cookout up at Riley's family's. Today was my family. Nice.
Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, it was.
So you were banged up with Riley's family, took it easy with your own family.
Yeah, well, I had a gin and lemonade at golf yesterday, and she laid out at the pool, and then we went up there, and her cousin said that he wanted to do gin drinks, and then I ended up drinking all the gin. He drank beer. I was like, "What are you doing? I brought this just for you." And yeah, long story short, I ended up banged up. Real banged up.
It happens. All right, let's shout out the sponsors real quick. Swing Juice, proud sponsor of Shusky also. Bush Light, Your Daily Local, JP Photography, Mean Sales and Service, Jones Pest Control, and the Me, Myself, and Ride podcast. And last but not least, Blue Line Auto, sponsoring the My Hive segment. Thank you, everybody who tuned in. We'll be back next week. I believe everything's on schedule. We still have a couple weeks before we have to change the date and time for the week of June 20th. So we'll figure that out when we get closer. But thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Until next week, take care. Be safe.